Hello and welcome. Welcome to Trucking Answers Live. It's the live show where you see me through your eye holes. And it is Monday. Are we ready for a short week? Well, you're going to have to get 5 days of Wieners in 3 days. That's amazing. What is happening out there? It's going to be another great week. 27 degrees this morning in Lafayette, Indiana. Warmer now. Hey, there's some Ohio truck stops that are going to run into fuel shortages. Why? Some of the fuel refineries, so they said, are down for service. Let's just service those right now. Right before a holiday. All right. The ATRI is going to talk about some jury awards. Pretty interesting on why companies get higher awards and stuff like that. January 15th is a border crossing deadline for you-know-what. All right. 3G is going to be shut down. So if you bought a phone before 2010, that's when 4G started, by the way. Guess it's not going to work anymore. You only got 11 or 12 years use out of it. Sorry. UPS and Waymo have got a deal together. Waymo? Yeah, Mo. They sure do. Stocks feel crypto coming up as usual. So we're going to see what's going on out here. Like we always do. Let's see if I can do things correctly. That would work better. So we'll just try to click some things. So let's get clicking. Where'd I go? Right there. Okay. So I got to go there. I got to go like that. All right. That's better. That's better. All right. And then I have to put you back up. And we are ready to roll. Chicken Hauler was first the other day. Thank you for that. And today I had James Morrow first today. So hello there to you all. Let's see what's happening out there today. It's 56 in Elizabethtown. George H.W. Bush is here today. It's good to see you. Eddie McFadden is here. What's happening? Dwight on the West Coast checking in. Sorry I had to wake you up early today. Kelly Patterson has a new video up from 18 Wheel Chef. I posted it on the Facebook page as well. So there's a link over there for you to get it if you can go over there and get it. And it's a special video for today. So that is really good. Hello, Grafton. Hello. Good to see you. Let's see. George Wilson is here. I hope everybody's safe, healthy, and wealthy. All those things, right? I'll take the first two over the others. If you don't have those, what's the point of the last one? Jim Parks says keep your revs down. Who's Jim Parks? That's my question. I saw that earlier, and I'm like, who's Jim Parks? Oh, Mark Ely says $38 a mile. All right, where is this going on, and how do I get in on this program? How long is that load? Usually these are shorter loads, but hey, I don't know. George Costanza, grab your wiener, maybe the driver next to you. Hey, what's 2021? No problem, because it's Roller Wiener Monday. Yeah, it's special week to holiday week. So, of course, Cash is King Trucking is here today. It's good to see you, Mark. I'm going to have to call Trucker Reel number one. Yeah, what's the story? What's the dealio on that? That's what we want to know. Hello, Joan Harper. It's warmer this week. What do you think? 50s later, so that should be good for us. Expat at large. Hello there. Bill 777, it's Roller Wiener Monday, like every Monday. Never miss one, except the ones that I miss. Daniel from Georgia, hello. Roy Mashburn, Mark, 9 days of home time. Boy, that's pretty nice. 9 days. After that, I mean, how do you go back to work after that? I don't even want to go back to work after a weekend, much less after 9 days of being off. So how do you carve your turkey wiener? Very carefully. Very carefully. Can't think of the name. But I had a good joke, but I don't know her name. So, the woman with, forget it. I can't. John J. Hello. Boy, I messed that one up. Cheech and Chong make it look easy. Creature 937. What is happening? What is happening? The Grumpy Trucker from St. Louis. What's going on out there? Peter Evans. Hello. What's going on? Let's see. Something is funny at the truck stop. I had a Sierra England driver tell me that he got a Qualcomm message saying you're only allowed to get $10 worth of DEF per fueling. These companies do this dumb thing, and I would probably believe that. So you got to constantly stop. Why do they only want to get $10? That's my question. And why did he tell you that? Was he asking you to read his scale ticket also? Which happens a lot. But why only $10? So you can only get a couple of gallons? I say fill the thing up, especially in the wintertime. You don't want to get somewhere where you're using more than $10 a day. Sometimes they consume a lot of this stuff. And it's always cheaper to get it bulk out of the pump. I've seen those jug things inside are heavy and they're expensive. Captain Flatbed is here. What's happening? Roger Penske, it's Roller Wiener time. Yes, and thanks for the information about the containers. I was just in Lafayette. Pick up a new trailer, Brian. Fine. Get all the trailers. Which lot did they send you to from all the 800 lots that are around town, as you see with all these trailers? Where were you? Get them all out of town. There's so many of them around. Are you going to go, are you going to on for Thanksgiving? What is on? Oh, am I going on to Thanksgiving? Yes. I don't know a time yet, though, because I never know what time I'll be back. So it's tough to promise a time for that. We'll get on for for a little while on Thanksgiving afternoon if everybody wants to do that. Chicken Holler been playing catch up on the podcast this morning while waiting on the live show. Well, I appreciate that. There's a podcast on Tuesdays and Fridays. For those of you interested that have a podcast player, so you don't have to look at me on that show. That's pretty good. And we always do a reason that we're not living on Mars, so I think that's pretty interesting because there's a bunch of dumb people on this planet. Don't forget to lock the like button. I appreciate it. Click it or lock it. There he is. I'm right here. Did you know it's illegal to warm up your car in Michigan during the winter? A lot of states are doing that. They don't want the emissions or whatever. I don't care what Greta Thunberg or whatever her name is thinks. I'll warm my car up all I want. So they can go bite me. I will say what people should do when you warm up your car. Do not park like in front of a Dunkin' Donuts or a convenience store and leave your car running with the door open and the key in it. All right, so at least lock your door because they get a lot of them stolen for that. But yeah, heck yeah, I warm the car up. I'm not going to be out there scraping it off. Michigan. Freight is up. Yeah, apparently $38 a mile. It's 61 miles, paying $23.35.50 in Baltimore. So it's short run. I mean, I would say that's probably enough for the day, right? Even if it delivered the next day. That's crazy. It's worth buying a truck just to do one load a week. You went to Stoops. Stoops. Is there is a Stoop? Is there Stoops around here? Does having all your trucks loaded through the holiday mean that it's a paid holiday? Kind of. He told me to keep costs down, and he told me because I said I used to drive for England, hated it. Yeah. Okay. How does that keep their costs down? That doesn't reduce the amount of DEF that you purchase. That's like buying gas every day for your car. Does that keep costs down? I guess you're dollar cost averaging your DEF costs. Look, if your company is that close on money where they can't afford DEF, you may want to consider something about that. And that's true. That's a true story. Because if they can't afford to put DEF in their trucks, so every time you stop, I guess I'd get $10 until it was full. But that's ridiculous. That's what? It's 3 something, right? 365 if I remember on the pump filling up Sunday morning. So less than 3 gallons of DEF. So you have to fill at least every other day. Forget that. John Harper, where do you work? Well, it's good that I don't get asked that much for new people. I do the show every Monday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time for those that are new. And I try to keep where I work out of the videos, so I don't see where I work. And I think it's better for videos as we see people out here complaining about their company or whatever could be a problem. And I also don't recruit for them. So a lot of people do, and then they move to another company and recruit for them. This is the best company ever. 2 weeks later, this is the best company ever. I don't do any of that. That keeps it. That just keeps it better. John 50's in northern New York. Really? What are we looking at here? It's no ways at 50 degrees here. It's 34 here right now. So the trailer shop. There's a Stoops around here. I haven't been at Stoops. Mark drives for me. He's an exemplary employee. You wouldn't say that if I drove for you, probably. You'd be like, this guy is a pain in the butt. Let's get him the heck out of here. Who wants this person driving here? Yikes. I thought this was pretty interesting, this ATRI study. I think you're going to love this. So the ATRI is the American Transportation Research Institute. They're a study arm of the ATA. And they looked into lawsuits and what determines how much companies have to pay from jury awards. What do juries look at is what they're saying. And if this is a factor in the case, how much more is it going to cost a company? And I have the top 3 things that are factors, and you'd be very surprised to know what they are when there's an accident and a company gets sued, something like that. And what does the jury look at? And they broke this all down, right? The number 3 thing were how many previous hours of service violations did that driver have? Right? These are all against the driver, by the way, because when you have an accident, they have to sue the driver and the company pays for it because they're an employee. Generally, but the third thing is how many hours of service. Do you get hours of service violations? I mean, this is why companies fire you for out of service violations. That's a problem. Oh, Stoops in Fort Wayne. Yeah, there's Stoops around. I've seen them around. There's one in Indianapolis too. Yeah, you always at Stoops. They have the best. They got 2-ply in there, so that's pretty good for a company. What are the top 2? Let's see here. Juan, what's up, Mark? What's the deal with every interstate on the state of Indiana under construction? Yeah, what is going on with that? 74 has been a single lane for all these miles all summer. They're not doing anything. What are we doing? Can we get going through there just the weekend? Who am I behind? U.S. Express pulling what? Kroger, because Kroger's in Shelbyville. U.S. Express does a lot of work there. It pays good, to be honest with you. But 49 and a 55. Now, they advertise $13.50 minimum, and it's home every day. But for the first year at U.S. Express, which is in their ads, $1,000 a month bonus for 1 year. That's $250 a week. That means those drivers that are home every day at Shelbyville working for Kroger are $1,600 a week minimum pay. That's in their ads. So I don't think that's too bad, but pick up the pace in the construction zone, would you? I've only had had a log service violation in 4 years of driving. That's really good. A lot of people get them constantly. And that apparently is a factor in cases. And this is why companies fire drivers that they're thinking, well, I only have minimal problems. That adds another $500,000, the hours of service. $500,000 to the case if you've had previous hours of service violations. That's a problem. Jones had no hours of service violations. Yeah, try to keep your record as clean as possible. And I think you'll be more valuable. You can say, look, here's the way to do it. When I get in an accident, you'll have to pay $500,000 less because I don't have any violations. Isn't that great? When I go run over somebody. The bus full of nuns, as they always say. No computer and no violations, right? When there's no computer, there's no violations, right? There's only another logbook to look at. But yeah, absolutely. As you know, though, we get drivers all the time. Look, we have drivers that are home every day. They get hours of service violations, right? You know why? Normally what we get, 30-minute break violations. That's normally what we get. And it doesn't make any sense because the thing warns you. If you start to do something before the 30 minutes, it will warn you, hey, don't touch this thing. I've never had out of service in 19 years. That's excellent. We don't get too many out of services, I will say that. But we get a lot of log violations. A lot of them. George Costanza, Mark, as you know, the Indiana State Flower is the Schneider egg, no doubt. And there was one that was in the lane. You had to go zoom around it. And Indiana is very proud of their state flower. They must be considering they're everywhere in the state. I know. Can they at least keep them on their side of the dotted line? There was one in 74. It was edged over into the lane. So, and it's late at night, right? And if people are not paying attention, you're going to smack that thing. There's like a sandbag in the bottom of them. Kenosha is a violation. Are there a bunch of barrels in Kenosha right there, right now too? Yikes. Number two problem, if I could read what I wrote down here. Phone usage, right? Phones. Number 2 in accidents, the driver was on the phone. Now, it doesn't say whether they're holding their phone or they were just on their phone. But, of course, an attorney like the Hammer would probably suggest to a jury, hey, you're on your phone, you're distracted, and let the jury figure out whether that's a thing or not. I don't know. But being on the phone, it's a problem. Being a driver is a violation. In some places, just being a driver, you're taking your chances. Hey, Mark, how much do you think your company paid that driver to bring the trailer to you rejected with no brakes? Oh, just regular. I mean, I don't know where he came from, but, I mean, whatever he got paid is just his day's pay, So, absolutely. That happens all the time in the drop and hook world. Those of you that drop and hook, this is a constant problem. Usually it's nothing that big. You'll get a clearance light or something, smaller. But brakes, I can't fix the brakes. I don't know what I'm doing. Fixing brakes. And if it doesn't have brakes, I don't know what's wrong with it. So, yeah, driver just takes it because why? They just probably here they want to get home. And on the road, they're like, well, forget I don't get paid for it. So either way, it's a real problem. 60 divided by 2 equals 30. It's exactly. The number one thing in these lawsuits, I thought this was very interesting. The number one thing with drivers is, does the driver have a history of other violations? Does the driver have any history of violations? Tickets, those kind of things. That's the number one thing. A poor driving history, other accidents. That gets the average case another $680,000 beyond what it would have paid had the driver not had any previous violations. That's why companies are very big on your record. And if you start getting problems, you're booted out of there because they know it's going to cost them a ton of money. Brian Walker, goodness. Thank you very much for that today. I appreciate that very much. Holy mackerel. So if you keep your record clean, you can say, look, I'm worth another $680,000 to you. You won't have to pay when I run a bunch of people over. If you have a clean record. That's the number one thing. What I thought was interesting about this case is the ATRI says, hey, when people have a lot of violations and the jury sees there's a death, they pay more money. Duh. Okay, when there's a fatality, of course the jury's going to pay out more money. But then when the driver has violations, they pay even more money. They get even more money. Just a couple of violations can cost that company another $680,000. That's where they're booting people out of there. Roy the Hammer, I see that on a lot of billboards. The Hammer is hammered all over the state of Indiana. Sometimes there'll be two billboards, where it's one and the next one. He has both of those billboards. Were you in an accident? Did you crash in front of my billboard? Give me a call. Super chat therapy without a chat. Right, it can be, and I appreciate it. Hammer's on every other billboard. The Hammer, he should own the billboards just to save himself money and rent out the 3 of them in the state that he doesn't use to other companies. There's so many billboards. As far as the phone violation, I was driving and playing Pokemon Go, and I saw Charizard, apparently. What do you want me to do, not try to catch it? Well, if it's something rare like that, I think that's worth it. But, you can probably explain that to the jury and say, well, look, this isn't just a regular Pokemon, which I don't know of them, but this is something rare, so I have to do it. Don't have much today. I'm tired. Yeah, it was a long weekend for me, that's for sure. Got back Saturday from that long night at 10 in the morning. And then after 10 hours off, went back to work. So it was really a long day. And you really feel it in your extreme upper 30s, you start feeling that. I'm like, wow. Guess I'm not in my extreme upper 20s anymore. But still, people half my age calling off. That's why I went in. Don't make me come in and outwork you young people. Come on, get to it, you young people. I made it to the show from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Stand out. All right. Are you off for the week? A lot of people are going to be off. This weekend coming up, easy parking. Don't have to use that paid parking this weekend. Wonder what Allure would say about using your phone listening to the Trucking Answers podcast, Joe. Well, I'll tell you, in the truck, I download a lot of podcasts, not just my own, and I just broadcast it through the Bluetooth. So that's one thing. The Bluetooth connects to the radio, broadcasts in the truck, and it automatically plays. I don't have to do anything. I set them up in a queue because I just use the Google podcast player, and you can queue them up. And I just set them up, and they just continue to play, so I don't have to interact with the phone. Probably what they're saying on phone, although it doesn't really say, is either you're on the phone talking, that's going to be a problem, or people are using Pokemon Go, and that is a bigger problem. Captain Flatbed, so when a drunk runs a stop sign and hits a semi, that's $100,000 for every beer they drink. Wow, that's a lot for red, white, and blue. The only accident I've ever had was going around a tight turn in New Jersey. There were workers there that had cones up, and I couldn't make the turn with the cones up. So did you just run the cones over? Is that an accident? I wouldn't consider that any accident. Who doesn't run a cone over? Brian Walker gave all my drivers a week off and a customer needed 3 loads, so I'm out on the road for the week. Yikes. Hey, tell them, hey, get those drivers back. There'll be people that would be willing to work, no problem. I use my favorite parking app. Which one is that? Good info about the industry on Patreon. What's on Patreon? Yikes. It's Mr. Plow. Greetings. Yeah, what's going over there on Patreon? It's not like, at least you could post my OnlyFans page so people can get on there and see all those pictures. Holy moly. A driver who was asked to work over his hours of service, and what happened to him? Well, he filed a claim as the Whistleblower Act under the Surface Transportation Act, and he got his money. This is what I'm saying. Go to the government and let them go get your money for you. Not only did he get his back pay of $14,000, because they fired him, they also gave him a $10,000 punitive award. So they have to give him $24,000 and his job back. So don't ever think like filing this stuff doesn't work. The government will go to work for you. Well, Werner tried to make me deliver on a Saturday with 3 hours left on my 70. Told him, good one. Try again Monday. I'd rather get the thing delivered Saturday, maybe. Maybe. And then I guess you got to go park. Either way, you're parking. Yeah, where are they, cone heads? Let's just move these cones or run them over. They just pop right back up into place. Stan Dodge, I listen to the podcast every week. Well, thank you. Huge fan. There's 2 a week, just so you know. Just saying. Listening while driving just to see if the co-host is present, ready to be president. She is. She was crunching her crunchers here earlier, probably getting some energy ready for the show. So, Yeah, at least I will say this, at least you can get delivered on the weekend. I'd be ready Monday with an empty trailer. So I might be in with that, unless they don't have any empties. Mark, our Wiener host, of course. Thank you very much for that. There was a Werner driver, too, that was posting on, and this is part of the thing about talking about your company. He posted a couple of YouTube videos. I don't actually remember his name. He got out of Werner school. These are just recent videos in the last few weeks, probably. And he's sitting at a motel, and they don't have any trucks. And I thought, how do they not have any trucks if there's a big shortage? And I'm not necessarily picking on Werner, but he mentioned them. And there were a number of drivers there waiting for trucks, and they told him they don't know when he's going to get a truck. If there's a huge shortage, why aren't there a bunch of empty trucks? And they shouldn't really hire people without a truck. I think he should get paid or something, because look, now he's got to go work somewhere else, right? How long are you going to wait for a truck? That's not the right way to do stuff to people. By the way, the motel he's in is kind of dumpy, really. Donkey Bite, shout out to the driver who put his triangles up properly, so coming around the bend I knew he was there. There's a driver, that should be a picture, that put his triangles out correctly. Yeah, I saw 3 just the other day, all on the ICC bumper. 1, and then 1 in the middle, and then 1 on the other side. All 3 of them back there. I'm like, well, I guess at least they put them out there and have 3 of them. I don't know what else to say about that. I rarely see them out correctly. They're like 1 foot, 3 feet, and 8 feet. I see that. It's very rare. It was a 250 drive in its home weekly account, so they don't usually... Oh, I see. So that's a different story. It's a regular thing. All right, yeah. All right, well, then they need to pay. Otherwise, see you Monday on a weekly, home weekly. Home weekly is weekly, not driving on Saturday. George Costanza, when I was a rookie, I took an on-ramp in the D.C. area too fast and my trailer hit a barrier. I drove 40 miles and called it a blowout. No DAC for me. All right, that's the way to do it. Sometimes you got to do stuff like that. That's why I say, maybe get a tow truck yourself, or sometimes you have to do that. And as long as you learned a lesson, well, then you learned a lesson. Are you rolling your Wiener? Mark is rolling his Wiener to Washington. I will roll it all the way to Washington if I have to. Luke, it wasn't the cones I hit. It was a yellow light pole that scraped slightly because of the cones, but no police were called. It was just a scratch down the trailer. All right, well, so nobody even knows about that. I get trailers with all these kind of scratches constantly. Who knows where they get them? As long as it doesn't go through, the trailer's still good, and I think we're all good. Home Wednesday till Monday for all my trucks. I'll be in the shop doing maintenance on all my equipment. Captain Flatbed, that's true. The greatness of equipment ownership. That does save money for you to do it, though. And if nothing else, you can look at it this way. The drivers are going to like that because they come back and the truck's all maintained. So that is a benefit. Breaking down, nobody likes a breakdown. That guy shouldn't be waiting for a truck, especially in the motel in Omaha, because they have all new trucks with plenty waiting for drivers. Well, I will tell you this. From what he said on his video, him and at least 4 other drivers, they just sent him back to the hotel. And he'd been there a couple of days when he made the video, waiting for a truck that they had told him no trucks, and they didn't have a date for when he'd get a truck. Do they not give drivers that just started a truck, a new truck, or how does that work? Because he's not being paid anything, and I don't think that's a way to treat somebody. You hire them, bring them in, train them, and then you don't have a truck for them. What is the point of that? Why do that to somebody? People need to make money. That's why they've applied at your company. Maybe give them a truck to drive. That's all I'm saying. James Morrow. I went to Werner training in 92. It was actually pretty good. 90 days with the trainer. Got lucky. He was experienced. Yeah, this guy didn't have any complaints about his training or anything like that. What he's complaining about is he's ready to work. He is ready to get his truck, and they don't have a truck. And I think that's a problem. And he has mentioned them in his little video many times. I left my job because it's a local job and no overtime. Yes, 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. The distance is too far for work, 40 miles, so 80-mile round trip. So you got a 90-minute, you're at a 13-and-a-half-hour day. They should pay you overtime. Local jobs should pay overtime. They should. And then an 80-mile commute is a long drive. I mean, that's 400 miles a week in the car? That's a lot of miles in your car. Right now, gas today is $3.40 here, so it went down a little bit. Werner will pay $600 a week to get a truck as of a year ago. Okay, well, he said he's not getting paid. So that maybe he doesn't know because he's new on what they're paying him also. Either way, $600 and being out from your house, say he stays there a week in the motel, that's not great either. He'd probably make more than that driving for Werner, I can assume. right? So I think 600 is not great. You should, if you're going to hire somebody to drive a truck, you should have a truck for them. Why bring all these people in without a truck? Triangles cost more than wieners. Yes, but you can't eat a triangle, at least not easily. Donkey bite picture. They should have a statue of the guy. Yeah. Well, it'll probably be torn down, but we should at least put it up for now. George Costanza. That's a perfect George Costanza answer to that particular problem. Respect. Waiting for a truck isn't because you no longer in training. I got lucky and got a truck right away. I agree Werner should be paying for that wait time. Waiting for a truck isn't paid, because you're no longer in training. Okay, all right, so he's not being paid then. Well, that's a real problem. How many days do you stay there, before you before you go somewhere else? They should at least pay him just because he's going to quit eventually. He didn't say he's going to quit, but nobody's going to stay for weeks or whatever. He's been a few days, and the room wasn't great. All right, the room was not like super great room. I think Cash's King Trucking would probably see like, oh, this is a 4-time upgrade of rooms. That's pretty funny. But I don't think the room was in that good a condition. I know you see OTR should never be long-term. I don't think so. Yeah, not like your whole life. But every local I did, they wanted you to use full 11-hour driving back in the truck and your 10 is up. Yeah, I would say, Joe, don't get a long job like that. Like this weekend I had to work because people called off. My normal day is 8 hours or so, 8.5 hours a day. And we have shorter runs than that. You don't have to work that long. It just depends where you work. Some places do want you to work forever, but even so, 11 and 10 for 5 days, is that better than being gone your whole life? Let's say it's the same amount of time. You're off the weekend, you're home every day. I still find that to be better. But I would say don't work at a place that does that if you don't want to work that many hours. Or if you work somewhere, stay there. If they have, Holland or ABF, someplace like that, that's a bid system where you can move up in seniority. It would seem like the guys that have been there could bid a shorter run, it seems like. There's always a way to do everything. I mean, there's always a solution. 11 and 10 is no good. This was a long weekend for me doing that one day. So, yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. Waiting for a truck in Omaha sounds like a country western song. Yeah, it'd be the blues part of the song, though, because the downside, I ain't getting no pay, ain't got no truck kind of thing. That's a problem. That's a real problem. 90 days in Canada is 70, 89 in the USA, so it's not as bad. Summit did not pay overtime. I do think local jobs that pay hourly should all pay overtime. They should. They don't have to. That's the problem. So we can't make them. But they should pay it. And I think it'd be a better way for them to get drivers to say, hey, you're going to get overtime past 40 hours. Some places do. You all see it in their ads. Hey, overtime past 40. But unfortunately, we can't make them yet. The standby driver status is awesome. What's a standby driver? What does that person do? Do they at least get paid? I mean, here's the thing. Maybe, is that a Werner thing? Do they have people that just sit there in case a truck comes in? I don't understand it. I don't understand okay, so if these people are getting nothing, that Werner still got to pay the room. They probably do only, though, 20 a day or something. I bet they buy a block of rooms. I bet all these two places do that. I don't like it. Even in my upper 30s, I'm not good after 40 a week. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Once you get a little bit older, as some of you will experience later in your lives, it's tough doing a day, getting back at 10 in the morning and then going back to work and working on. That's tough. So doing it all week, I agree. That's no good. That's why I try not to do that. But I can't help people are calling off all the time. Wilbon, good afternoon, Mark and Trucking Answers fans. Well, good afternoon. That's good to see you. James, the Werner motel I stayed in Atlanta was great. Plenty of bars and strip clubs with a walking distance. That's a good thing. Trucking companies should consider that. When they get a motel, how far to the strip clubs in the area? And do you give change for tens? Will you change tens into ones at the desk? Exactly. This person is staying in Omaha, and the motel just it looked old. Like the rooms were not well kept. And I assume that's because Werner buys a block of rooms, and this probably happens at a lot of companies, for cheap. And so the motel gives them cheap. They have to pay for them 7 days a week, and they're just not maintaining the room properly. And what I would do if I was Werner is talk to the motel and say, hey, we want our drivers to have a good impression of the place, so keep these rooms nice, or we're going to go to some other motel. That's how I'd do it. But nobody cares. The motel doesn't care. So a motel should care and say, we're going to have you a nice room. But Werner should say, we're going to give you a good room. So Nobody cares, and that's a real problem. I think I'm going to apply for a yard driver at Walmart. Yeah, does that pay anything? That should certainly be hourly plus overtime. Always thought about doing a yard move place. I will tell you, what is it? Oh, it's Ruan's running an ad. Non-CDL yard drivers in Indy are $23 for them, and CDL drivers, because I guess they take them out of the yard or whatever, are $25 an hour. I don't think that's terrible money, especially if it pays overtime. I worked at a place that did bids on runs or be in the extra board. Yeah, so it would seem like if you work at a place that has bids, if you stayed there long enough, you could move up the list. And wouldn't you get a shorter bid? Or are they all 70 hours a week? Not everybody, as they get older, wants to work 70 hours a week. I guess that's where the money is. But that's not the most important thing. Werner drivers, especially on a good dedicated accounts, get paid good. My last week was $16.71. That's very good. Werner's money to pay those drivers waiting. I think they'd have a better time keeping drivers. If they have new trucks, I don't understand why they're not giving them trucks. I don't get that. If there's any empty trucks there, they should be in a truck. But I guess if they don't want to give them out, they should pay them at least some kind of something, 1,000, something in 4 digits for not working. Because it's not the driver's fault that they're sitting there. It's Werner's fault. They come assuming you're going to get a truck, right? And so let's just pay somebody. Trucker Hershey, hello, Central Time. Yeah, right. We changed times a few weeks ago for everybody that didn't know. There may be people didn't know that. Captain Flatbed, no pay for standby, but you better be ready at any given moment for a road trip. Who knows where or how far away? Awesomeness at its highest greatness. Well, as an owner, that'd be one thing, but, a company driver, that's a problem. If you have to be in readiness to drive, that's on duty time, right? So keep that in mind. That's why I don't know how some places get away with like an extra board. I've seen that when I actually went to Yellow many, many years ago. It was Roadway then. They did that. They had an extra board where you have to be available, and I thought, this has to be logged, At Walmart DC, waiting on a 4-hour unload. It's pretty good. I thought Walmart, from what people told me, Walmart's pretty efficient at doing this kind of stuff. So 4 hours is still not terrible, I guess. Do you at least have another load? Where's your Walmart, and do they have Wieners? They do. These Walmarts, there's 3 of them in town here, and there's plenty of truck parking at those too. The one on Veterans, there's trucks all in the back all the time. And let's see, the one over there on, Commerce or whatever, there's always trucks in there. I don't get out to the West Lafayette one. On the west side, they won't let me over there. But these ones here, you can park a truck in there, all that kind of stuff. And Meyer, there's truck parking in there. That was busy. There was a line to get in Meyer because I got back so late Sunday morning. Meyer was almost open, so I just went over there. There's a line of people at 5:45 a.m. on a Sunday. There's a line of people to get in a Meyer. I'm like, wow. Do you know Arizona does not change time? Joan Harper. Yeah, there's a few states. Arizona is one of them that's smart. That doesn't change their time. I don't know why we think changing the clocks does anything. They always say it's for kids, but what? Kids can't go to school if it isn't light out? I don't understand. You're in school. Do the schools not have lights? This is from when we had candles? Kids can go to school even if it's dark. Covenant owned the motel they put the drivers in Chattanooga. Oh, so like some other motels or like other companies. Well, so the motel, if they're owned by Covenant, see, that's the thing. All right, so yeah, I don't even mind that if they bought a motel and owned it. Those should be great rooms because that's the first impression you give the driver of the company. That's where they're going to stay. And so it should be a nice room where they're by themselves. And I do think this guy was by himself for Werner. So there weren't like 5 people in his room. He got a room by himself, which I'm happy about. But the room was like falling apart. Like everything was falling apart in it. Kind of dumpy. Didn't like it. I was disappointed in the quality of the room. Trucker Hershey, Louisville to Denver. Delivery due tomorrow. Wow. I laughed at them. I'm picturing a map. I don't think that's possible, is it? East Lafayette has a university. No, nothing over here. Nothing on our side. There's no East Lafayette, though. There's Lafayette, and then we consider West Lafayette like one of our suburbs. Because mainly it's just Purdue over there. Luke, when I did Walmart loads, they usually took 4 hours for live unload, and with an appointment time, you had to have an hour early or late, or you didn't get in. So I've heard from people that if you're late at Walmart, they won't let you in. But if they hold you late, that's no problem. That should change. That should certainly change. Otherwise, I guess you have to go remake another appointment. I love how they do that. The room may be cheap, Mark, but you got to keep all the bed bugs you want. Well, do you? I think there's a sign that anything in the room has to stay in the room or you get charged for it. And he didn't do a bed bug / pornography check, which you should do by checking the entire room, lifting up the mattresses and everything else. And that's what I do when I go to a motel, no matter how much the motel costs. And you'd be surprised what you find, disappointingly. Werner owns a motel in Dallas on their terminal site. Do they own the one in Omaha? That's where he is, in Omaha. You know, do they own the motel? Even so, it should be a nice room. And I'm not saying he has to have like gold, white glove service or whatever, but stuff in the room shouldn't be falling apart. Everything should work. The room should be made up every day. You know, a regular motel room. We don't do standby drivers, but just saying that would be crappy to do to somebody if we hire somebody and have equipment for them from day one. Well, right. Captain Flatbed, here's the thing. You don't want the driver mad at you to start with either. And plus, you went through all the trouble, like Werner, to hire them. They got to do all the paperwork. Set him up with workman's comp and Social Security and all that stuff and any medical that he wants. Do all that. Give him a physical, right? That all costs them money. And then what? He's going to sit in a motel. You want to recoup that money as a company, it would seem, right? Let's get the driver, because that's why they hire drivers, let's be honest, to make them money. That's every company. That's every company in the world. And so let's get him making some money. He probably really liked that too. He seemed a little disappointed to not be getting paid anything. 1,150 miles after pickup. That seems more like it. 3 hours to the pickup. See you tomorrow in Denver. They go, well, look, you can be there tomorrow night. Just saying hello from Brian and Debbie. All right, Brian, FLI. Well, hello there. In England, out 3 drivers in a truck. Imagine how many they can get in one motel room. Yeah. CRST is the most I've seen, with 4 in one video that I saw. And that's in their little place by CRST, and there's no TV in the room. So I don't know what the 4 you do in the room, but hey, no TV. Trucker Beetle Bailey is here. Hey, thank you very much. I'm paid $250 a day times 7 hauling equipment. Concert equipment, if I drive over 500, that's an extra $200. That's pretty good, because some days you sit around, right? Depending if there's a concert, so you may get that money and not drive at all. Isn't that correct? And I think that's even better. I was not put on CRST request list on my way to Jacksonville for start of peak season. What is peak season down there? Let's help Kyle get his CDL. All right, Kyle, get that CDL. The guy in the motel room did say, well, there are hoof prints on the floor. Hoof prints. Yikes. What's been going on in the motel there? Who is Kyle? Am I missing something? I think I missed something. Bed bugs, use lots of fart spray when you leave. You know, see, that's the thing. I check every room. As an aside, right? No matter when the wife and I travel or whatever, every room gets checked for bed bugs. So you don't want to bring any back with you. It isn't a money thing. It doesn't matter what the room costs. They could be anywhere. When I went to a motel for Sir England, I just slipped my sleeping bag on top of the bed because I didn't trust the cleanliness. See, why wouldn't England have a nice place? They're huge, although I guess now they can't even afford DEF. I'd like to know, is that a policy? There's got to be some Sir England driver on here. Is that some kind of nationwide policy that you can't put more than $10 of DEF in at a time? That'd be really aggravating. That would be very, very aggravating. The Hool is here. Hey, what's up out there? You know, what's it doing over there? And by the way, we're catching up to you on fuel prices, soon to be almost the same. The Werner Hotel in Atlanta was at my place, right next to Walmart and a bunch of restaurants. Very nice. One in Omaha is pretty run down. It's next to the Sapp Brothers. Good diner. So, okay, so you're saying the same thing that he is saying, basically, that it's kind of run down. Let's refresh the place, right? That'd be a nice start for drivers. And certainly, if a driver comes in and does not have a truck, they need to get some kind of money. People are coming to you for a job for a reason. They need to get paid. You know, so if you don't have equipment for them, don't hire people. But don't have them just sitting around in hopes that eventually a truck comes in. I'll turn the bar stool upside down and 4 on the floor. Are they giving the driver a meal voucher per day while waiting for a truck? That I don't know about. I assume you get breakfast at the motel, and I don't know if he gets a meal. He needs to get paid, though. You can't send a meal voucher back and pay your bills at your house. The reason people come to a trucking company is to work. So I'm sure he would like to get a paycheck. He'd probably like to drive. Oklahoma loves Roller Wiener Mondays, David. I appreciate that. The state, endorsed by the state of Oklahoma. Sooner rather than later. Oh, how about that? That's a sports reference. David's my name. All right. Sierra England, it's $20 on our Comdata card. Really? Is it $20 for DEF? Is that what we're talking about here? Because what we've heard earlier is that Sir England is only allowing $10 a day of DEF. So what are we talking about there? Walmart loads are quirky. I always had an anytime delivery time as long as it was the day of. That would be better. A drop and hook would be best at Walmart. But look, if they're going to make an appointment, they should keep their appointment. Hey, you have to be on time or you have to reschedule. Well, you should unload me in an hour or you have to pay me. Walmart would never do it, though. Jason King, peak season is crazy. Rockets change from normal bid to crazy runs till middle of January. Yeah, I guess it depends what your peak season is. No breakfast at the hotel, but they give you a little bag lunch. They don't have breakfast? What hotel doesn't have breakfast? I think he's talking about Kyle Petty, Richard Petty's son. All right, is he running for some type of office? David, thank you, Mark. Good job, sir. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for that. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, January 15th. Does anybody cross the border? All right. With Canada. Not the other border. The Mexican border doesn't count. But with Canada, January 15th, you will be required to be fully vaccinated to cross the border either way. And so this is sparking a lot of controversy. If you cross the border, keep that in mind. And if you are a company driver and crossing the border, you may want to talk to them right now about what needs to happen or whatever. But that was put out there. January 15th, you'll have to prove it both ways, north and southbound, if you take freight back and forth. And a lot of people do. So keep that in mind if you're going to head north of the border. Roger Penske, don't bother with over the road. There's more money in local driving as a fuel hauler or food delivery, and all your time is paid. The fact that you not get paid for all your time over the road is BS. Yeah, that's just that enough is enough should be enough to aggravate people, at least long term. Certainly, because a lot of sitting around is unpaid, and now I'm seeing jobs, 2,000 plus local jobs, $2,000 a week plus. Heck, there's a temp service in Indianapolis running $28 an hour plus overtime at a temp service. So for a week, right, that's $2,000 plus right there. That's pretty good money. So school in Millington rented rooms and put 4 drivers in a room with a kitchen. Is one of them a cook, I hope? Is 18-wheel chef with him? That'd be something. That's not right. I have always said that I'm out. Okay, I'm not sharing a room like that. I need my own room. Because you don't know what's going on. You don't have people in there. I mean, it's all a problem. Gracie is the only one that shares a room. And even she wants her own blanket. She's going to take her own blanket. She's like, 4 people? No way is that going to happen. That's not happening on my watch. At least at CRST, they did a room check, so it said, and lights were out at 10:30, and there's no TV in the room. So, and the next day, apparently when you're in class, they check your room for contraband. That's what a number of people have said. So any contraband that you brought in there, and you're booted. I suppose people would say, well, Mark, you don't have any right to the room or whatever. Well, okay. They don't have a right to get drivers. George Costians and Werner isn't the worst company to start with. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying they should pay him. But Belton is so much better now that they accept new drivers. TMC and Melton have far better trucks than the bare bones models at Swift or Werner. Are Werner trucks fleet spec trucks too? A lot of these companies are buying fleet trucks. It's tough to get, some kind of nice truck like, something like this, right? You don't get too many companies running this kind of truck around the road, certainly. Rarely do you see that. Maybe Western does that. Are Swift drivers exempt? Are they exempt from what? David, Cheyenne Tribe paid for my CDL school and gave me a $200 weekly paycheck. That's pretty good. To get paid in school too? Nice. That's very nice. Did it change your life? That's the question. Did trucking school change your life? Because people don't realize trucking can change your whole life. It'll give you income for your whole life. I'm sorry, Mark, please repeat that about the north and south border into Canada. What did that have to show? Well, to go to January 15th, to go either way, north or south, they'll have to be fully vaccinated. Okay, and that is that's the rule. Canada has a rule. Canada made the rule too. So fully vaxxed to cross the border. It's not, if you're here and the load's from Canada, that's okay. It's the border crossing that will be the problem. Drivers have been exempt from this crossing because drivers were considered essential or whatever. And so to bring freight across back and forth, drivers have been exempt. But now, starting January 15th of next year, it will no longer be exempt and we'll have to prove it. So you'll need your little card, right, to prove it. January 15th. So if you work at a company, ask them what the dealio is, because they should know. Although the card is what you're going to need at the border, or you're not going to get across. Yep, that's what they said. Now, will they enforce that at that time? I don't know. They back off stuff right at the last minute, but that's what they said now. Over the road beats local if you're single without a family and you have a family while you're the road driver. Statistically, over the road wife has a boyfriend while the husband is gone. Well, you have to pick a better woman. Certainly, but, if you're single, yeah, and I have mentioned this on a podcast or two before also. Single, living in the truck, oh my gosh, the money, and they are giving you a free place to live. Boy, that's life-changing, isn't it? Imagine if we'd have done this, all of us, when we were 21 and really thought it through. Lived in the truck, now just with a phone, but even before no phone, and just took all the money other than whatever we ate and saved it all for 6 years. Oh my gosh, that'd be life-changing. That's the way to change your life. Shout out to Trucking Through Life with Chuck Estes, driver, Tulsa. All right, Trucking Through Life. That's the way to do it, Estes. My company's trying to mandate the vaccine. Okay, Daniel, Tyson maybe? We're an industrial construction company corporately based in Alaska. Wow. I'm the only truck driver to haul the equipment, and we have around 300 employees. Well, there you go. Some companies can do it themselves, and then you have a choice to make, sir. I'm seeing it in ads, no vaccine. So you can always move to a place that doesn't do it. That's probably one of the few companies that I've seen that has drivers that are doing it. So do you think that will affect freight from U.S. to Canada? Yeah, they said it's either way. So all the drivers going either way will have to get it, no matter if they're Canadian or if it's American that's gone up there to bring it back, or however it goes. How much do we do with Canada? Some, I'm sure, right? Probably a lot, probably more than I think. Even the county jail gives you 3 meals a day. Isn't that interesting? And there's not 4 people in your room, usually. You just got one buddy in there, I think. But isn't that, that's funny. You know what? That's what that driver should say to Werner. Or anybody else where you're sitting around, hey, if I robbed you, I'd go get 3 meals a day. So that is something. It's a good way to think about it. Walmart used to consider you late if you handed the paperwork to the receiver. The truck gate was considered a check-in. Oh. Well, so they have like a catch-22? Hey, you're already late hours waiting in line. There's a way, they should be able to electronically prove where you are. George Costanza, fleet spec are hard, uncomfortable seats. Yes, agree. Melton and TMC have premium leather seats and fridges. Seats make the difference when you sit for 10 hours. It's the one thing every company should do for their trucks. Buy a better driver's seat. Buy the best driver's seat they can. Even if they want the rest of the truck to be plastic fantastic with one gauge, just this gigantic speedometer like a Harley Davidson. Okay, the rest of it have at least a nice seat. At least. Paul Vine's happy Monday. Yeah, happy Monday. It's sunny out, and I'm happy about that. Getting the winter coat ready. Oh, you don't have to be vaccinated to come to the southern border. Just ask the migrate swimming across the river. Stan, I will say I did look up, and it does not affect the border to Mexico. I thought that was pretty interesting. I don't know how many American drivers cross going south. Not many, as far as I know, but either way, this only affected the border with Canada, but it is something that affects trucking, and drivers should know about it. I will not be going to Canada. I will never get that vax or wear a mask. All right, fair enough. I don't know how many travel to Canada, but some do. Just get a job, I guess, that doesn't go to Canada. I haven't been for many years, 90s. I went to Canada for 3M. Used to take videotapes and bring back Post-it notes, of all things. I'm about to get the booster shot in January, Felipe. You already got the booster, so you'll be all set. They didn't actually say, too. That's interesting. I didn't look at that. Will you need the booster? I don't think so. The way it was worded, you won't, but I would certainly check into that. Kelly, I live out of the truck. Yeah, I mean, that's probably the best way to do it, right? Living in the truck with no other expenses if you don't have a house, how sweet would that be? Especially now, making 100 or so, even 80 to 100,000, live in the truck, just a cell phone bill. Hey, you could just pay that guy from the movies, Mint Mobile guy, $30. I'm going to start a company called the Umbrella Corporation. Somebody might have that one. Roger Penske isn't that special. We must take a vaccine that neither prevents us from contracting the disease. Contracting, I said that weird. Or spreading it. Can you say scam? That's true. But that's those people will be required. They won't get across the border, apparently. Can any of those Canadian truckers tell us what's going on with the floods in BC? Yeah, anybody know about the floods up there? Swift employees are exempt from knowing how to drive a truck. I don't know, Swift. I don't get as many complaints about Swift. I think they have a bad record from before and that they're trying to get out of. Kind of like a Hyundai 15 years ago. There's 4 people in your room in jail if it's Roller Wiener Monday. Yeah, during the day when those doors open, yikes. It's a sausage fest in there. George, he stands in love with Melton. It's a good place. How many yards of terminals they have? They have a lot of terminals. $100 to tarp a truck? I mean, that's pretty good. You know what I used to get for that? 0. You got percentage, they go. It's worked into the rates. Not at Melton. I did not work at Melton. If you lived in the truck 6 years, how would you have an address to update your license or medical card? I don't know. I'm sure you could use somebody's address, right? I'm sure I could have used my parents' address or must have a friend or something. There's got to be ways to work an address out. Heck, you can buy an address somewhere, can't you? That, I think, that's the easier part of working it out. There's Uber Freight, Uber, and Uber Eats. Soon Canada will have Uber Wheat. They'll need it. Uber Eats stinks. Okay, I stopped using it. Can't get your food delivered. They need to fix that. Where are the drivers going to draw the line? Drivers getting into vaccines today. How about microchip implants? Those will be next to cross the border, but only the Canadian border. I'm just reporting the news. And that's what they said today, crossing the border. If you love the woman, bring her a large head of cabbage when you go home, including some beef and rice. All right, that would work with my wife, okay, because she likes cabbage. So perfect. And I know when cabbage is cooking because you can smell it down the street. I think it smells bad. Get the flatbed. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Those plastic fantastic trucks. Everything you touch, right, is hard plastic in the whole truck. Like, oh, what'd they pay for this truck new? $25,000? But get a good seat. Spend an extra $1,000 or whatever on the seat. You're not fully vaccinated unless you get the boosters. It didn't say what they meant by fully vaccinated, which I didn't think about until somebody mentioned that. So depending when you need the booster, you could still be fully vaccinated, I guess. I think what they're wanting people is to get at least the first 2 shots. That'd be something to look into. I'll have to check into that. With this new border rule, if I was Canadian, stock up on food. If you're American, stock up on maple syrup. We can get maple syrup from Vermont. We don't have to go to Canada to get our maple syrup. Right, Ryan Reynolds. He's the guy from the movies, right. You're not even 1% vaxxed. You can't even take 1% of your freight into Canada. So you're going to have to stay right here and fix your trucks, and that's it. Works so good you need to get 2 shots. Whoops, made it 3. No, it's yearly. They already talked about that. It will be regular boosters, kind of like a flu shot, which they forever want you to go get. Melton has 5 terminals. All right, I actually thought they had more than that. El Paso, Laredo, Bloomington, Ohio, and Tulsa. Good company and over-the-road work. Saw 48 states in 6 months. That's good. It took me many years to get to the 48th state. TMC is home weekends if that's your thing. It might be. El Paso. So you guys are over there close to our buddies, Mesilla Valley, running the dual-plated trucks. I just saw one the other day again, right? A U.S. plate and a Mexican plate on the truck. So I live in my truck and use a homeless shelter as an address. Or you know what? I wonder if they would, because I will tell you, years ago I volunteered at the Salvation Army here in the food pantry for a while, and they would let people that were homeless use the Salvation Army as an address to get a job so that they had an address for work. So that's actually not a bad idea to go down there. Maybe you volunteer once a month or whatever down there and use the place as an address. That's a very good idea. I slept under the tailpipe last night, woke up this morning exhausted. At least you were warm. If I can't get back to the USA, maybe the Biden administration will give me $450,000. Only if you come back with a family and are separated. Forget Subway, the originator of the $5 footlong at the manhole. Yeah, that's and they're free there. That's the thing. You can get one free. Really as many as you want, depending which room you go into. A Phoenix winter coat is a long sleeve shirt, Roger Penske. Yeah, I always wait, to see how long I can go every year without a winter coat. But I think this week we're gonna have to put the coat on here. Some years it's only into October, but I'm pretty hardy. James Morrow, I see a lot of Swift day cabs pulling Walmart trailers around the Tampa Bay area. I haven't had a chance to talk to them. In many large cities, these mega carriers, as we would call them, they run day cabs around. TMC has day cabs up in Chicago through Gary and all that. They're running black day cabs up there, so it looked just like their trucks. England has tons of day cabs in Indianapolis. You can, if you're in a large city, you can call a mega carrier, and you might be able to get into a day cab and pay it what their road drivers make. And there should be plenty of freight. You'll go deliver road drivers' freight. It's not a bad way to do it. You can get all the syrup you want at the manhole. That is true. None of it bottled, though. You have to kind of take it out a different way. Fully vaccinated means up to date on your boosters. So if you don't need the booster, then you are up to date, because some people may have just gotten, like right now, some people will go just to get the shots across the border. They wouldn't need a booster yet. Okay. That's probably fair. If you're wanting to go flatbed, 3 companies stand out as a great place: Melton, TMC, and Kiwi. Who's Kiwi Brothers? All 3 have nice trucks with fridges and very comfy leather seats. You need to upgrade the seat companies. That's one thing I would request, even before you fix your motel rooms. I saw Google it. We may get more stimulus money. Really? Another check? How much is this one going to be for? I didn't see that. So how much are we getting paid off for? This is not an election year, so I don't know why they're doing that. Did the ports end up charging container companies $100 a day per container? Well, we have a container person out here. Are the ports going to be charged that money, or are they only going to talk about it? Vermont is like Kung Flu cycle state. They may not sell Ben & Jerry's or maple syrup unless you're fully vaccinated. We'll have to get it here. That's true. They are weird up there, some of them. Uber Freight sent an Uber car to pick up a load going from Walmart to a Walmart store. The Uber driver waited 4 hours to be rejected. But after 2 minutes at Uber, you start getting paid. So that did good on that. What's going on with Stevens Transport? Saw a bunch of trucks for sale. Oh, yikes. Although I would think, are they going to go out of business? But, probably all these large places sell their trucks. And right now, oh my gosh, they're probably getting more from them than they paid for them new. So it's probably just they just have a bunch that came in, and so they're selling their used ones. That's the best I could hope for. All syrup from the manhole comes straight from the spigot. You get it naturally there. Our day cabs are trash. 500,000 miles and had to slip seat in international. Just even if you didn't slip seat in international, we have one truck that has 1 million miles on it. So your 500,000 mile is nothing. The sleeper I drive has around right at 300,000, but we have a day cab with 1 million miles on it. So that truck is horrible. I didn't see an amount on the stimulus money. Oh, it's going to be probably 4 digits, right? At least you would think, to send it out there. But no, I didn't hear anything about that. And it's not really an election year, so I don't know why they're trying to buy votes this year. The claimant cycles told us it will never be this cold this early in the year. This has been a good year. I've put on a winter coat much earlier than this. So even into October, I keep track of it. I don't know why. But this has been a pretty good year where I haven't had to wear a winter coat yet. So my coat's all ready, but I haven't had to put it on. So I'm pretty happy about it, to be honest with you. Did you see this driver? So he gets busted for a traffic violation and has $1.5 million of cash in his truck and what the police called a secret compartment. I don't know what that compartment might have been. It could have been the cabinets, considering what the police think. So $1.5 million in cash, and they had it stacked up there. And I thought, it's probably $2 million in cash. The police counting it. Either way, who carries that much cash with them in the truck? Even if you got it legally, now they're going to take it and you have to prove you got it legally. I would say put that money on a green dot card or something. Don't carry that kind of money around in the truck. Roy Biden, speaking about the backup in the transportation right now and how we will fix it. Can't understand what he's saying. Oh, really? So I will. Okay, so every year the president pardons 2 turkeys for Thanksgiving, and President Biden pardoned 2 turkeys this year. This goes back to George H.W. Bush administration. They do this every year. These 2 turkeys this year are called Peanut Butter and Jelly, which I think is funny. They pick a school and the kids name the turkeys. So clever. The turkeys are going to come to Purdue. That's why it was in the news here locally, I think. And they do live out their lives. Anyway, you go to the whitehouse.gov and look up the transcript. Everything the president says in a public speech has a transcript. There, you can read the transcript. I don't know why I went to read it, but he had a few remarks about pardoning them. And not only whoever transcribed it, did they have his words, they transcribed what the turkey said in the speech. So he's speaking, and then in parentheses it will say, turkeys gobble. And then he goes on, and then we know they did because he'll say something. Oh, see, even peanut butter likes this or whatever. Then he talks again, and then it says turkeys gobble. I found that to be super hilarious, that they transcribed everything that was said, including what the turkeys had to say. Pretty funny. And by the way, you're paying this transcriber. And it's likely somebody was behind him doing the sign language, also sign languaged what the turkeys had to say. Arthur Martin, good afternoon. Well, good afternoon. That's the question you should ask the DOT and GP Transco. Better driver's seat. Yeah, look, the seat, I should have looked in a truck. That's true. If I go again to another company, I will examine their truck seat. Why don't the truck seats, why aren't they the best seats that you can buy? Some kind of high-end seat. Spec the truck with a better seat. My soap pants are covered in dust. Right, well, why is that? He was saving that money in the compartment for wieners at the J. Well, you know how many you'd get for $1.5 million, especially when they're on sale? I don't understand carrying that kind of money in the truck unless you got it illegally. It would seem like it would be tough to save $1.5 million in cash up where you can have it in your truck. It was a lot of money. It was like they took a picture of it. It was stacks of money. It would fill all your cabinets up, the money that they had. And I don't know if they wrapped it up or if he had it wrapped up. Either way, he's going to have a tough time proving where the money came from. They hadn't charged him with anything, as the last we heard, but they did take his money. Isn't that great of them? You're not charged with anything, but we are going to hold that money because we believe it came from an illegal source. I never agreed with that. You know, for them to withhold anything from you, they should have to prove you've committed a crime. Not they take it and then you have to go to court and get it back. They have no right to take anything to you, certainly if they're not charging you with anything. Because in America, supposedly, we're all innocent until proven guilty. So he really hasn't done anything yet legally. So they shouldn't be able to take anything from him. That's what I think. Did you see a Brinks truck dropped all the cash on the highway? I do have that written down. I thought, why don't these trucks doors secure? The doors flew open, apparently. I thought, doesn't the door lock somehow from the inside? What is happening? It would seem like a secure truck like that would even have a better lock system than your regular, like, bread delivery truck or whatever. But the doors opened. People stopped and picked all the money up. The cops said, look, give us the money back or we're going to arrest everybody because you don't get to keep that money. Even though you find it on the street, apparently you can't keep it. Just ridiculous. And right now, there's so many people with cameras, you got to give the money back. Which supposedly you should do anyways. There are a bunch of Walmart DCs that use outside carriers to run their deliveries. Eventually, I think Walmart wants to take them all over with their private fleet. Yeah, they got to get all the drivers, though. What they'd have to do is just hire the same drivers back. They should just go to whatever third-party company and say, look, why don't you come in and work for us? That way they can control the fleet better, certainly. Not to beat and mutilate a dead horse, but daylight savings time started in the 1800s, so kids could work the fields till 8. Okay, I don't think many are working the fields. All right, that's even worse. Yeah, how many kids are out working the fields late at night? I don't see many kids out there working fields. Maybe in other countries. I don't think it's a good... and plus, what's the difference? Work the field until the field's done working. Kids working the fields. They don't even work the fields other than Farmville, right? Well, that's what the kids all play these days. They're just putting it in the bank for him, giving him 55% back. Yeah, that's the thing. They'll say, well, we'll report you to the IRS. And he might say, well, look, I already reported it. What do you think about the Kyle Ritter? Who's Kyle Ritter? Oh, Rittenhouse. Yeah. Kyle Rittenhouse, yeah. I mean, look, not a trucking-related thing, I guess, but yeah. If somebody comes around and points a gun at you, you get to kill him. That's what I think, and that's what would happen at my house, too. So Stevens Transport Motel in Dallas is quite literally a dump. Is it their motel? And I don't think it matters too much, but if they own it, then they have even more incentive to clean it up. Don't you want drivers that are coming in to think, oh, this is a great place. Look at the motel I'm in. Because you know new people, especially if they're new in trucking, are going to take pictures of everything, especially now. See, so like this driver has this motel up on the internet. That doesn't show very good for you. And really, would you want to stay in it? That should be their thought. Would I put my family in this place? You know, it should be a decent place. It doesn't have to be like the Ritz or whatever, where you have a concierge for everything and go, oh, we'll get you tickets to the opera. But it needs to be a decent room. It should be that's not too much to ask, that it's a decent room. And breakfast. What motel doesn't have breakfast? Can you throw a few bananas out there for people to eat? Usually what I see at motels, which I always have to tell drivers, is don't eat the breakfast before your physical. I see drivers down there failing all the time. They're sopping up syrup, Vermont syrup, and 500 pancakes, right, and 6 donuts, and 7 things of sugar in their coffee. Then they go take a physical. Your sugar's 900 or whatever, right? Don't eat that gigantic breakfast the day you're physical. Try and keep your sugar down a little bit, okay? Keep that A1C down under 50, at least for the physical. That truck has 1 million miles on it, but only has 3 oil changes to occupy. You know what? It might only have 8 or 10. I will tell you that. That's the truth. And that's very true. And it looks it. John, turkeys are libertarians. Please don't eat me. Stick to your wieners. I agree. That's right. These two are going to be libertarians at Purdue. I work for Smithfield. All the outside carriers have a clause in their, where did I go? In their contract, we can't recruit them. I've tried. Oh, really? All right. So they get a thing in the contract so they don't lose all their drivers. Please don't recruit all my drivers. So you can't do it. All right. So maybe Walmart has that same deal. Well, then they're going to have to get the drivers from somewhere. There must be a date too, right? It can only be so many days, right? A month, 6 months, a year. Roy, it's going to be hard to get back after 9 days of home time. I agree. And thank you very much, by the way. But the plus is I can watch this today. Usually have to watch it later. Live is best. Yes. Thank you very much. Yes, you get to watch it live. And going back and watching it afterwards, I really appreciate that. Certainly. Even after a weekend, I mean, taking 9 days off, oh my gosh. I cannot imagine going back after 9 days. I'd be like, oh my God, I still have to go to work. Every day in those 9 days, I'd be like mad scratching lotteries and everything else, so I didn't have to go back. Walmart private fleet wouldn't hire most of the third-party drivers to halt for them. Too much liability, like in your first comments about lawsuits. Well, you know, that's the other thing. When they're doing this third party, are they just eliminating their liability? And if so, then are they going to ever replace them? If that's the case, you'd think they'd want to do even all their own stuff with as much third-party contractors that they could. I think in a lawsuit, though, they get sued too. If they're pulling a Walmart trailer, the Hammer, they're putting Walmart in there too, and let the judge figure it out. Roger Penske, the cities of Long Beach and L.A. have not started charging people for empty containers. A couple lots have opened up where empty containers are being stored. They did say they're going to. Would that help? Maybe. It's not the Ritz, it's the Roach. That's disappointing. Werner and all these Stevens, that's a large place. I would go to a motel in the area and say, look, I'll buy these block of rooms, but these rooms need to be kept as good as every other room. And I'm going to ask the drivers about it. And if I hear there's a problem, I'm going to go somewhere else and buy blocks of rooms. That's how you do that, and have the motel keep the rooms nice. To bring people into a room that's falling apart and the carpet's all threadbare and everything, it's ridiculous. Joan, you know my time at Summit will not count as experience. Prime says I would still have to go with a trainer. You didn't have enough time there for Prime. And I will say this, a place like Prime, and don't feel bad, Joan Harper, I would probably have to have a trainer at Prime also. So if you get local, some companies won't recognize it at all. It depends on the company. So some companies, I would have to go with a trainer. They go, well, you don't have recent over-the-road experience. So they would say, yeah, trainer. So yeah, that's true. At some places, they won't count it. It depends where you go, though. Some do, and it'll certainly count for local experience because it's local. So it would help for that. Donkey Bite Manhole has free seat inspections. How nice of them. There's always somebody doing that free. I will email some pictures of the empty container storage lot when I get around to it, Roger Penske. It probably has more containers than I have empty new trailers around town here. Anything under 4 stars, I won't sleep there. Oh, very, very fancy. That's super fancy. I don't know how many stars these places get that this driver had, but probably no stars. UPS gets fleet seats, no premium seats. That's disappointing. You know, I think drivers would be a lot happier with a nicer seat, and I think they'd be safer. If you're relaxed, I mean, if you're driving a car a long distance, the seat makes all the difference in the world, I think. So getting a car with a nice seat, much better for longer trips. Remember, how about a 1980s Buick, right? It's like driving your couch to Florida. No driver poaching. Yeah, this is more of a legitimate thing than what CRST did in their poaching issues. Yeah, but Stevens Terminal is also a bad area of town. Walking distance rent by the hour motels, like the Manhole. Manhole only has an entry fee. Literally. I stay in that hotel that Werner owns a few times a year. It's not too bad, and it's $50 a night plus tax if you have a CDL. Well, but if you're staying there, if you drive for Werner, then that's different. But if you're staying there as a person, just like, a random person, that's probably a different deal, I think, at these motels than if Werner says, all right, we're going to rent 10 rooms from you. We want these rooms available all the time. So 7 days a week. So they're going to pay maybe $210 a week. That's $30 a night. And so then the motel says, well, these rooms we're not going to really clean or whatever. And Werner shouldn't allow that. Werner should say, I expect these rooms to be kept just as good as any of your other rooms because I want my drivers to have a nice experience here. That's how I would do it. What happened to the Super Chat Penny? I don't know what a Super Chat Penny is. That Brink story, shocking to me. Those guys made a whole $18 an hour. Yeah, they don't make that much. I've seen those Brinks kind of ads. But here's the thing. Even at $18 an hour, does the door not secure? Is that not part of a pre-trip on a Brinks truck? Check the locking mechanism on a back door. They said the door just opened as they're going down the highway. And then what? And I pictured this too. Do they just stack money up that's not wrapped or anything and lean it against the back door when they're driving around? I mean, why would it all fly out anyways? If it was in bags, it seems like the bags wouldn't come out. I pictured it just stacked up all the way to the ceiling. And when the doors open, the money just flew out immediately. And I actually thought there was somebody in the back of that truck, but apparently there isn't. The Roach Motel would probably be an upgrade. It's disappointing to see like locks and stuff falling apart. The sunshine is beautiful today. So much rain on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, it was horrible here on the weekend. It was a cold, rainy weekend. But I still washed the car anyway because it's unlimited and I'm doing it. Thank Ronald Reagan and the war on drugs for that one. Thanks, Ronald Reagan. Just say no. Remember that? How about 80s Cadillac seats? Very comfortable. Yeah, these old cars, these tufted seats. You young people don't remember when seats were actually comfortable in a car. They don't have to be BMW sport seats. Okay, some of them can be very comfortable. That's why I very much encourage people when they're buying a car to upgrade their car. Do not buy like the cheapest level car because you're going to get much better seats in your car. I'd rather stay at Auschwitz than the CRST motel. I don't know if that would be the case, but yeah, I hear you. The 4 people in a room without a TV set and a room check and lights out, I don't think that's great. I don't think that's going to be really a good place. And from what people post about it, it's not great. It's just basically a room with beds that are the width of a small end table in between them apart, and that's it. I cannot imagine that's a good first experience. And then everybody's like, well, I mean, that's pretty good, I tried getting a hotel room over the weekend, but couldn't because they had weight limits for pets. What does a weight limit have to do with anything? Really? So they're fat shaming your dog? I mean, that's kind of horrible. John, $4.99 versus $5. Oh, okay. I thought you could enter an amount, from what I understand. Yeah, I think you can. I think you can enter your own amount. CRST does not kill people. That is true. They do not kill people. Certainly not with kindness. I'm disappointed that a place would say, your dog is too fat to stay here. I mean, it doesn't seem right. All right, so he's a schnauzer and he weighs 75 pounds. That's none of their business. We had a 76 Lincoln Continental floated down the road. The suspension also helped with that, and your Continental just floating around, right? That's the way to do it, not today's cars. Ooh, I need all these struts and everything. Who needs a strut? You don't need that stuff in your car. We're trying to get down the road, in a good way. 3G is going to shut down. Yeah. Next year, depending on your carrier, starting in February, and I'll go through the end of the year, depending who your carrier is. 4G started in 2010. So, apparently if you're rocking the old 15-year-old, Galaxy 2 or whatever, I guess you're going to have to get a phone. Plus, some ELDs are going to close, and that's where this came into trucking, because they're still using 3G network to run some of the ELDs, and I guess some of them aren't going to work starting next year. So if you have an old tablet that actually has, I guess, a physical keyboard to it, maybe something like that types things out on the screen, and a piece of paper prints out of it, you're going to want to call your ELD carrier and get that fixed, because you're going to have to get into the modern age. You'd have to go down and guess and get that jitterbug flip phone. At least it's 4G. Last place of state had 4 stars, but they were ninja stars, and they were thrown in the wall. You got to be careful on what kind of stars you're getting. If 4 stars doesn't necessarily mean 4 stars. It's hard to find a 4-star hotel, by the way. So those are much higher end places. Roy, hey, Mark, got to go for a few. Try to make it back before the show's over. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And thank you very much for that. So we'll see you when you get back. Well, if they won't recruit a third party, at what point does the driver's choice matter, especially if he wants to work for Walmart? Well, the thing is they have a contract. So the driver can go apply, but they'll say, well, look, because you work there, we have a contract with them and can't. That's one thing where it's a specific place, unlike the CRST problem that where they got in trouble, right, and said, no, nobody can recruit our drivers because they don't have a deal. But here I kind of get the deal, where otherwise they'd all get poached away. I think it's an iPhone 5 or older, it will stop working. Is that when those started? 2010 was 4G. So really, it's been out for 11 years. If you've gotten your phone in the last 11 years, it probably will work still. My phone giggles when it gets a 3G connection. I never see 3G pop up on there. Where are these 3Gs? Maybe out in smaller towns or whatever. Going down the highway, it seems like it's always 4 or at least probably 5G most of the time. But they made a big deal about this, that there's still 3G, and some ELDs are running on 3G. ELD's only been out at most places for a few years. Some of them have been rocking it for a while, but most of them started within the last few years. So you bought a 3G tablet like 3 years ago, some company to run their ELD program on. Oh, this will be fine. I mean, your tablet should be the highest amount of technology so it lasts the longest. That's what I think. So that kind of when you get a new phone, get the best one so that it lasts you the longest, rather than getting like the cheapest one. You said in your podcast there's a car company giving you the option to get 3 on the tree man. No, not anymore. I talked about 3 on the trees on there, and that ended in the early 80s. Was about the last one I could find, which was Chevy pickup trucks. I drove a 70s Nova that had a 3 on the tree. That's the last one I drove. That's been a while. And I said most people can't drive it, which most people have never even seen one, or a 4 on the tree. But early 80s Chevy, you could still get a 3 on the tree in a couple of those pickup trucks, and that was the end of them. You haven't seen one in the U.S. Now, in other countries, maybe they lasted longer. I don't know. But in the U.S., that was as far as they went in the early 80s. You almost never see them for sale because people can't drive them. So you go get one. I mean, that would be better for you to have probably than a stick shift on the floor. Although people would probably ruin it trying to put it in drive, even though there's no drive. Probably 10% of people have ever driven one. That's what I would say. They weren't even common then. You didn't see them then. People behind you don't know what you're doing. You go up in a second up here, and people are like, they have no idea what's happening on it. I don't know if people drive those. Anybody else besides me driving? I'm sure somebody has. Anybody has driven a 3 on the tree on anything? Especially in a car. Hey, Michael Swift is in. All right. George Wilson, look into Fox Freight for kicks. Supposed to be a good Driver's Choice Award winner. Fox Freight. I never heard of Fox Freight. Driver's Choice Award. Third-party drivers can apply to Walmart. No problem. Walmart just doesn't recruit. Drivers move over all the time. All right, so that'd be worth a shot then to go over there if it's going to be a better pay. And I'll tell you this. If a company is third-party and they're losing drivers to Walmart, they should be like, well, how we got to compete with this company? Maybe they got to boost what they're doing. Maybe put a better seat in. I think you could, you can offset pay. Not everything is pay. You can offset pay with a lot of other things. I would love to have a nice seat. I think that'd be great. I'm looking for the upcoming 2024 Dodges. Their commercials are mysterious, really. They said that, next year I think is the last year for the big engines in the Durangos because they can't meet emissions. So, nice. Push button, remember push button transmission? I do. I never had one. They're back now. A lot of companies, they're back. Hyundai, Palisades got it. Most Lincolns have a push button and have for several years, so they are back. Not like they were vacuum operated then. We had on the dashboard. Some of them in the steering wheel. Edsel, some of them had them in the steering wheel. So it just depends. But yeah, absolutely. Never drove one though. Never drove one. Michael Swift driven a 3 on the tree, right? So there's a couple of us. Very unusual. Very unusual. I want to throw my phone out. This is how the government knows your location every word. That's true. You don't have to have a cell phone in the United States. So it's tough. I know one person I think that still doesn't have a cell phone. So, but you don't have to. You can still get a home phone. I haven't had a home phone for many, many years. I do have a phone sitting there. I have a rotary phone sitting near the plug. Don't use it. It's not plugged in. But I have a rotary phone. Aviator Trucker Chevrolet acronym can hear every valve or lifter every time. That's how you know it's running. You can hear all the lifters. A creature drove a 3 on the tree on a Javelin. Oh, nice. Not only the 3 on the tree, but then also a weird car. Drove it on a Javelin. Probably a 6 in that Javelin then, right, for the 3 on the tree? Had a 3 on the tree and a 79 Dodge truck. That would have been good in there. A lot of pickups had them. Trucker Beetle Bailey. That does not sound like a motel with no TV. It sounds more like minimum security jail for trucking. Trucker. And thank you very much, yes, for that. And by the way, the CRST has got rooms. It seems like it's in their building from what the way the driver described it. It's like one of the floors of the building is like dorm room type of rooms, and it's a room. And there were 4 beds with an end table and no TV and lights out. They control the lights. I love that they control that too. So lights out. Hey, you guys, whatever you're doing in there, put it down and go to bed. I drove a 3 in the tree in a truck and car. 2022 Volvo push button. Oh, really? I haven't seen the new ones. So I'm all for it. You know, I'm all for the push buttons because, look, people may not realize this. That stick that's in your car, whatever, it doesn't really do anything. It just tells the computer to shift anyways. So it can be a push button. It can be anything. It's been a long time since it's been a physical connection to the transmission. So I'm all for push buttons. My Biscayne and Impala were 3 on the tree, both 60s. Nice Biscayne. Hey, who's going to take the Biscayne out today? Yeah, so very unusual to drive it. I'm surprised there's this many people that have driven them. Flat highway, I'm broke down in Logan Sport. My pogo stick snapped in half, and my airlines are caught in my drive. That's a problem. You're about an hour away. We have a driver that lives in Logan Sport that comes in. I'll have him pick you up. But, yeah, you're 1 hour away. If you go to Peru out there, there's a circus museum. How do you text on a rotary phone? Well, you have to dial the thing 6 times or whatever to get the letter. That's what we used to do. T9, people remember texting like that? You'd have to hit all the letter buttons. That's even so old people already forgot how to do that. What's a new electric Mercedes that can fall through the air and not crash? I don't know. Heard they're doing something about removing DEF systems. Really? After all the deal of putting them in, now they're going to make people take them out? Really? After all of that, what are they going to put instead? Because no way is California going to allow trucks to go back to old emissions, you know. Juan, thank you very much. Got to head to work. Just refilled the wieners in the roller trying to get dibs on the good ones. Always choose your wiener carefully. And those are words to live by. Thank you very much. Enjoy the day. For guys to room, no TV and lights out of 10, I'm going to also want my strip search. Believe me, that if they could figure out a way to do that, they probably would do it. I mean, how much like a 10-year-old are you being treated? No TV? What kind of room doesn't have a TV? Of course, you know what probably happened? You put 4 people in a room, they're not all 4 going to want to watch the same thing. So that probably is why the TVs have come out of the rooms. If I've missed anything in a car, it's the big bench seat. I always like the split bench seat because when I would move the seat up, then the other side moves up. So at least split, and with the 2 armrests and big tufted cushions, super comfy. Those seats have gone away. Drop your rotary on the about 100 times, and that will fix your problem. Yeah. Look, mine is metal. Okay, this phone, it weighs 100 pounds. I don't know how people carried them around back in the day. If JFK stopped the motorcade for rolling winter 58 years ago today, history might have changed. Yeah, see, that's the thing. People don't realize how much life-saving can be done with a simple wiener. I showed my 8-year-old nephew, a rotary phone, and he didn't know how to use it. Oh, I'm sure. They may not know how to use a regular, like a trimline phone, if you remember those phones. I had one that used to just hang up when you put it down. It had the little button on it. It's like $9 at Kmart. I had a 73 Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40 with a 3 in the tree. I didn't know Toyota did that kind of stuff, especially in a bigger thing like that. Really? That's pretty cool. I'm like Frank Zappa and other mothers of invention in 68. I'm only in it for the money. Hey, that's how to do it. Invent something and retire. I want to travel to the coast again, but I want to drive my car. Yeah, well, look, your car's still good on gas. At $3.40, you can still afford it for the moment before it goes to $6. So you may want to head out there as soon as possible. They'll probably just phase the DEF out on new trucks. Yeah, but what are they going to do? There's still emissions to meet. And I got to say, I don't think this administration of all of them is going to be that nice about emissions. You know, they're not going to let emissions go. So are they able to meet the emissions without DEF on the trucks? That would be okay with me. We wouldn't have all these dumb sensors and everything else. DEF sensors that go bad. But remember when International, of all things, had tried to do this without DEF, we know what happened then. We're still paying for those problems now. Do you get free wedgies too? You, whatever the two of you agree with down there. What's Kmart? Kmart is a store that used to be around everywhere. Now they're all just rotted away. That's where you could get a $9 phone. I'm not up to date. I have no cable or satellite. I don't watch all that stuff on my smart TV. Okay, yeah, you're heading a little behind the curve on that. But you do have a phone, right? A cell phone, so at least you're on that much of it. Ernest, and I don't watch any TV during the week, really. So if mega carriers are such horrible employers, why are they not rated as the worst in America? I work for America's worst employer through his running, Union Pacific, always striving for number one. Well, they're not working hard enough. And the thing is, at trucking companies, especially mega carriers, usually the people that go to a mega carrier are newer drivers. I don't find a lot of people that write and say, Mark, I've been driving 40 years. I'm thinking about going to England, or I'm thinking about going to May. You just don't have that issue. So what happens is people go there and they were making $400 a week somewhere. Now they're making $800 a week. And to them, they're on the Einstein of pay. It's all relative. Pay's relative to what you were making. So they've doubled their pay and think it's not bad. And that's the thing of it. Without anything to compare it to, they may be the most pay they've ever made in their lives. That's why it's not it's a problem. Einstein, he screwed everything up. I used to have a ringing in the ears until I got an unlisted head. That's what we need. Yeah, remember you used to have to pay to unlist yourself out of the phone book. IDI Ford V8. Happy Turkey Week. I just have to bother you by saying Fort Wayne is greater than Lafayette. Yeah, not in the winter. How about that? So suck it with your single interstate system. I think Quick Trip has the most wieners available for sale. What, do they have extra wieners there? I noticed there were none at the Loves. I did stop in at the Loves over the weekend and in Terre Haute because I had to go to Evansville. And there weren't any available. Now, this is late at night. Okay, I'm looking at 2 a.m. I'm like, this is disappointing. Kelter Rooster Travels. Happy Rolling Wiener Monday. Well, welcome. Welcome. Good to see you today. Someone had those sensors on their trucks. If you get too close to the lines, it goes off. Yes, lane keeping. Freightliners those are standard. Even too close in following distance. I have a smartphone. All right, you have a phone and the following distance, right? The collision mitigation, all that. They are going to mandate that on trucks. That's going to be on new trucks, and they're mandating it. So keep that in mind. That's not going to be great as they mandate that kind of stuff on a truck. And OIDA is all against that because it's just going to cost money, and that stuff is still horrible. Even cats don't like it. The thing, it still goes off over bridges and stuff. Everybody still has that problem with them. It's nowhere close to what it should be. UPS is going to start with Waymo going from Dallas to Houston with a driverless truck. Right now there'll be a driver because it's illegal at the moment, but they're going to do that run. And you notice these are all in the southwest, southwest, because it's the only place the weather will cooperate with them. And they actually said in the article that they're not going to be able to go in bad weather. It will only go on days of good weather. Isn't that great? I still have ringing, but the Blue Parrot makes it better. All right. You know what? If you actually have tinnitus, you know what helped my wife? Hearing aids. It helped her tinnitus, but not ones like you get at the store for $50. Go to a hearing center. Have them test you, computer test it. They program it. The hearing aid plugs in a USB in the computer in there. And they send a program to it, and it helped her like 90% reduction. Recommend. I think the DPF thing was due to they can't get the sensor for the new trucks that are broke down, and it's taking months to get fixed. Oh, and so they're going to eliminate it because of that. Believe me, once those get back, then they're going to mandate DEF on the trucks because the emissions. I thought we were all going to die because of emissions. What do you guys think they did away with the flathead for the engine? Oh, seemed like a decent compact unit. They put out quite a bit of horsepower, and Clyde Barrows really liked his, years ago. I don't think you'd get the fuel mileage and stuff that you get out of a small, like a small turbo or stuff now. Cars have come a long way in fuel mileage. You can get a lot of power and good mileage out of them. Nothing like a worn out and dried out tornado at 2 a.m. in the Loves. Tornado. I know. Well, there weren't any. There were people in there. Well, there was a cashier in there. They could have at least had something out. They had nothing out there. You're stuck with just the cold products. Number one place for mandates is the manhole. I'll call ahead for best availability. Blue Parrot has always been the best. What's going on with the border stuff now? It depends on the border. Nothing going on at the southern border. At the northern border, starting on January 15th, you will need to be fully vaccinated either way. That's what it said for trucking. So if you're taking a load either way, I guess if you're coming back empty also, kind of didn't really suggest that. Crossing either way, fully vaxxed, January 15th. Get with your company if you're a company driver and see what you'll need to do that. Schuster Travels, thank you very much. Goodness, shouldn't the minimum 50 backups be normal before a new driver goes solo? Well, I don't know if there should be a number. You should be able to prove your proficiency. You know, a certain number. Not everybody needs 50, and some people may need 100. So how about proof of proficiency? We have a backing and you do it. That kind of thing. If you can do it, 2 backups. Look, you didn't have to do 50 notes, right? I can name that tune in 3 notes. So whatever it takes the person to learn it, to be proficient, is what it should be. If you put a number, then when people go over that number, then they feel bad about themselves too. And I don't want that either. So it just may take you longer to learn. You may not have been taught properly. You may just not get it. So I don't think there should be a number. You prove your proficiency, you get your license. 1 backup, 100 backups. Because, look, when you're backing in a dock, they don't come out and go, you get 3 tries of this or you can't deliver here. That doesn't happen. You can pull up as much as you want, right? So, absolutely, I don't think there should be a number. My Blue Parrot has this mouse, but because of my hearing aids and glasses, really. Yeah, it might not work good with the hearing aid in that ear. Every quick trip I've been have 7 warmer for wieners and other taquitos. Nice. So they know what drivers want, and they're giving it to them. We know that you love wieners. They go, come in and get them right here. The Big Pumpkin Company doesn't do that. I was very surprised. I wouldn't say there should be any minimum number. If you can back in enough to pass your test and go solo, what's the difference if you've done 3 back-ins or, hundreds? Well, you're with your trainer, though I think every back should be yours. If you're up, driving, it shouldn't wake you up to go do it. But if you're up, you back in. Absolutely. What Cadillac model was the first front-wheel drive? I think it was put out in the 60s. Yeah, Eldorado, right? We'll put out an Eldorado as a front driver. Big V8 front driver. Boy, that'd be great. Rooster needs 100. No problem. Hey, whatever it takes you to be safe and proficient, I'm all for it. Because when you put a number and then the person goes over 50 and they're not good at it, then they're going to think in their head, oh, I don't get this or I'm no good at this. And that's not true. That shouldn't be a way to teach somebody. If you don't do it in 50, you have to do 50 and then you should get it in there. No, it shouldn't be stressed that there's a number. You do it until you learn it. Everybody learns differently. That should be the way to do it. Then people will just not try because they think, well, I've been doing this and everybody else got it in 20, but I'm 50. No, don't ever think that. A mandate is a night out at the main hall with Michelle Obama. Very nice. Roger Penske. I think she's married to a dude. What happened at 499? I don't know. I don't know anything about the internals of how all that stuff in the background works. And that is the truth. Oh, the Boise Stage Stop. They're going to give you free dinner on Thanksgiving if you're in Boise and show your CDL. So, which they've done for many years. I didn't know that place has been open since 1891. So go in there and say hi. Tell them Mark from Trucking Answers sent you. See what they say. They'll be like, what? Who's that? A no number when you get hired, your safety man should make sure you can back up. Michael Sotti. Exactly. Exactly true. Right? They usually don't do that on road tests even, but they should. And if you're in training, hey, until you can back up, we teach you until you can back up. It shouldn't be a specific number because it may take you longer. And I don't want people to get in their head that they're no good at it because everything pretty much can be learned if you put enough effort into it. Dark Horse, Ford just made an all-electric F100. We can get an old-school semi-truck bodies with EV engines. I would buy one. I don't know how they would do that in a truck, but I did see that F100 electric. I thought that was pretty good. It'd be something to put in the truck to get all the motors and all. You need gigantic motors for each, and Tesla's got it on 4 electric motors in the trucks. Really, I don't know why they don't have a motor on the steers too. It'd be a monster off-road. I watch old trucking videos, Joe. I was shocked to see truck stops would fuel your truck, then parked it while you went inside. I never had that. But I will say they used to come out and clean your windows. I remember them cleaning the windows of your truck. That's true. So I don't think I ever had one fueled for me, though. There may be drivers on there that had that. I didn't get that. I remember them cleaning the windows. And I remember a guy walking back and forth that would write down the plate numbers, too, and go inside so that they had all that information when you came in there. Pretty good. Those were the days. John, call the Secret Service. We will get them called. Joan, I'll be back in halfway, then start making a lot of pull-ups and backing a little so you can get in and take out so much risk and just straight line back in. Yeah, well, look, whatever it takes to get in the dock. They do all these stuff for the test or whatever, but really, when it comes down to it, it just doesn't matter. Get in the dock straight, however you can get in there. Now, I assume if you're out there like 45 minutes, that the place may be like, hey, weren't we unloading the truck? Oh, they're not backed in yet. But, you'll get better at it as time goes on. Kelter Rooster Travels. Amen on that. I agree with your take on training. Big Mike intimidated me on tipping double at the manhole. Dang it, Big Mike. Always. The double tippers are the best down there. Aviator trucker, you need a minimum of 40 hours of flight time to become a private pilot. Very seldom does anybody do so in under 70 hours. It's only like 10%. Yeah, so whatever hours it takes you, though, right, is what it takes. 40, but it could be more. It could be more. And I think people that are doing flight training in that probably have a different mindset than, especially a flight trainer, than a trainer at a truck school who's trying to get miles and just get you out, because once they're out of your truck, then they get paid miles on your miles and get a new trainer. I think it's a whole different mindset probably going on. Pilot should bring back the Flying J buffet. That was good chow. Yes, some of them. Do they have pizzas back at the J yet? Those were always the best. There's no J that I go into anymore. Stan Dodge, every time I ran to Plainfield, Indiana, I would stop the Flying J on 465 and tell them about the roller arena store from Trucking Answers. Oh, the burned down J at exit 4. That pilot there is a disaster. The J is way better. That place burned to the ground not that long ago. It's back up. Did anyone get that free hat from Chester's Chicken? Yeah, did anybody go get their hat or mac and cheese from Chester's on Thursday? I wondered about that. What's the manhole? Oh, the manhole is a club here in town. I do a band. I have a band down there on Saturday nights. Used to be a lot of places would pump fuel for the driver. I don't remember ever getting fuel pumped for me. I do remember the window washers. I don't remember any place pumping the fuel themselves. I'm thinking back to cab over, right? And I'm thinking of climbing up there, wash the windows, but I'm thinking, no, some of the places had somebody do it. Then they put stairs out for you. You'd roll those stairs around. That's a liability thing. Oh my gosh. We used to roll stairs around to the front of the truck to wash the windows. When these big mega carriers start hiring 18-year-olds, can we call them child traffickers? And some of them are going to. 3,000 of them, and that thing got approved in the infrastructure bill. So the Drive Safe Act. So 3,000 here pretty soon will be able to be hired. 3,000 is the max. So that's the max. It's a Trucking Answers Insider. Yeah, but everybody's welcome at the manhole. Only a door in the back, though. The only entrance is in the back. Coach's Twisted Mud Flap Service. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Paid day off at GP Transco. That's what I'm talking about. Why is today a paid day off? Oh, maybe Thanksgiving is a paid day off. Are they giving today off too? All right. Well, happy Thanksgiving. If you're in Boise, get a free meal. You probably won't be there, though. Flat Highway in 25 right lane will be closed for 45 minutes. They have to detach my loaded tank and pull me from my drives. Wow. All right. Well, at least it's not too busy on 25. And the weather's better than it could be. I used to work at a Hess gas station, John. Wash the windows, pump the gas, check the oil, all for $1.65 an hour. Sweet. Those were the days. $1.65. Now thinking about it, I'm in the woodshed in Big Cabin, Oklahoma as a person that will fuel your truck but won't park it. Oh, can you imagine the liability in parking your truck? Now? Oh my gosh. Plus, some trucks, would you want to even get in them? I don't know. Plus, dogs and stuff. And the person stuff is stolen. I don't know if I'd want somebody in the truck. It'd be nice to have somebody fuel the truck, and you could go in and get all your stuff done. You come back out with 2 tornadoes and a drink, and your truck's filled up. Oh my gosh, how great would that be? And now with electronic payment, I think that'd be pretty cool, really. Casey says way better pizza than the Flying J. I always like they had those big, you could get a big pizza to go with the J. What happens in the manhole stays at the dark web, of course. Of course. Denver weather 65 degrees, crying with Cooper. Really? It's going to be warmer there than here? We're going to hit 50 on Wednesday. No snow. At first they talked about snow on Thanksgiving, so if you're coming to the Midwest here, Indiana area, no snow over the holiday. And gas will probably go up this week, so if you have a car, fill it up today. It'll probably be your last day. Filled up the Escape on Sunday, so we'll be good on that, and washed it. Oh, yes, New York City just got 18, 19, and 20-year-olds for CDL. Yeah, they always could drive in-state. The Drive Safe Act, which is in the infrastructure bill, which got passed, will allow up to 3,000 at one time, 18, 19, and 20-year-olds to drive interstate with a few conditions. At companies have to apply, and they have to be monitored. There's a few conditions. I'd like to see how long it takes them to get 3,000 people to actually do it. The J Buffet in San Antonio was the best in the country, only second to the one in West Virginia. I used to like the Petro Buffet in Effingham. Super delicious. Big buffet. Like it. That was the place to be. Kelt Rooster Travels. Manhole's a place you can only feel comfy and where an adult can shake their tail feathers for a filthy lucre. Yeah, you can be yourself there. Let's put it that way. Crying with Cooper. What happens when the internet goes down? Well, then we're all stuck. Did you see that too? Well, that'll probably be on the podcast tomorrow. The internet went down for Tesla. Their app went down. People couldn't get in their car because on Tesla, your phone is the key. Now, there is a key, a credit card-sized key. So you have that kind of thing that you can tap up on the car. Okay, and it'll open it. Most people don't carry it with them. You couldn't get in your car because the app didn't work. That's technology. Summit has it where you don't have to get a receipt. Fuel and go. Joan Harper. That's the way to do it. Look, I will tell you this. They want us to bring a receipt. I never have brought them a receipt. I just put on there, do you want a receipt? No. And nothing. Never heard word one about it. I assume they get a bill at the end of the month for everybody's ComData card that filled up. And so they've never said anything to me about it. So I generally don't go in and get a receipt. In fact, I've never gotten a receipt. Even if I go in, I don't get a fuel receipt. That's the way to do it. They know, they get a bill. They know how much it is. Dave, a quick fill truck stop in State Line, Pennsylvania will do your fueling for you. Really? So there's still a few of these independents that will fill for you? Do they charge the same price for the fuel? Truckers Coach and things like that. $4 for 85 octane in Wyoming. $4. Who runs 85 octane? Your car won't even run 85 octane. Holy mackerel. I'm running 93 octane here, and it was $3.90 yesterday for which we consider premium. 85 octane, I guess, from the height or whatever. But so they're over $4 there. Sweet. Phillips 66 trucks only, and Birdie's Kitchen on I-80 in Altasa, Iowa has the best food, but no buffet, right? Buffets are slowly opening. I've seen the buffet commercials on TV. Yeah, $4.99 on Super Chat. I've never tried it for that. I swear to you, I don't know how it works, to be honest with you. It's 28 in Logansport. No way. Really? What are they on a cold deal over there? We are 36 degrees on sunny here right now in Lafayette, Indiana. Has anyone from the podcast 37 countries ever emailed you? No, it's 38, but who's counting? I always wondered if anyone from Lithuania got in contact with you about the thank you sent for the batteries. You know, the Lithuanians, without them, how would we have electric cars? Their whole country is covered in lithium. I mean, and I just want to give them the thanks. They're changing the whole world. No one from another country has ever emailed me from the podcast. In fact, I get few emails from the podcast from this country, much less other countries. But it is 38 countries as of Friday, which I think is pretty interesting. I mean, I always wonder, why is some dude in Lithuania, one person, listen to the podcast going, you know what? I'll give it a try. But the thing is, with one, is like, forget this. This guy's an idiot. So that's the other part of it. Fisher Browner, he'd have at least, 40 downloads. Hi, Mr. Mark. Hey, what's going on, Fisher Brown? Donkey Bite. Back before COVID, a good buffet hack would just load up your to-go box with bacon. Even when they charge you by the pound, you made it out like a bandit. Yeah, to-go buffet, yep. Truckers Lazy Boy Couch. Some states require full-service fueling. COVID may have changed that. I don't think they ever did, like Jersey, right? They have full-service fueling for your car, but I think truck stops got exempt from that, right? they're not still filling up your truck at the Loves or whatever, full service. Now the cars, they do. Oregon too did that, right? Oregon, you can't fill your car up because you're too dumb to fill up your own car. As much as, I kind of agree with it because, look, all that does is save the company money. Just like at the grocery store. There's 12 registers at Meijer now and one person in the self-service area. So that they used to would have had 12 people there for those 12 registers. But no, they make you ring up all your items, and half of them don't work right and stuff. So I don't know, Evansville has brought back the mask mandate. Really, Joan? In Indiana? I haven't seen anything in Indiana for this. So I did see Australia's locking themselves back down because it worked so good there. So that's freedom, right? Welcome to freedom. I stopped eating truck stop buffets once I saw a guy leave the bathroom without washing his hands right to the buffet. Oh, yeah, I'm sure that happens all the time. There's people that leave there that haven't washed their hands in a week, much less that day. Grabbing the handles. You're lucky he didn't stick his hands in the buffet food. There's tons of videos about that. Turns out you're not allowed to, scoop the macaroni and cheese out with your own hand. Michael Swift, where to get your podcast from? Any podcast. Podbean. All right. Any podcasting app that you use. I use the Android podcasting app to get my podcasts. It's on iTunes, right? Spotify, everywhere you get better podcasts. And it's Trucking Answers. And we're at number 40 now, right? Yeah, the next one next one will be 42. So 41 podcasts, and we're doing that Tuesday and Friday. A new podcast comes out. Friday was close this week, and we'd make it. So did. So I will say mostly Tuesday, Friday, in case I can't do it on one of those days. So it will be the next day, and all you do is subscribe to it on your podcasting thing, and then when a new one comes out, it just downloads it automatically. So pretty good. They don't charge for that either. So no podcasting thing charges yet that I know of. I don't know. It's just a little thing for then people don't have to look at me. People, I get letters all the time. You're disgusting. What I have to look at you and all that. So I thought, you know what? Let's start a podcast. And then people don't have to see me. And at the end of it, we do, a reason we're not on Mars yet, because there's dumb people on this planet and they're holding us all up. Truckers Coach, tire expert. Truckers Coach is a lot of experts. Let's go, Brandon. All 38 countries love why we are not on Mars. Hopefully that's why they've downloaded it. So, and I do appreciate people around the world downloading, although they probably don't listen. Some people jack cars. I jack couches. I need my sleep. Hey, whatever. There's some of that at the manhole. It's always Steve Dodge. It's always, dude. I have taken the last few podcasts to find a reason we're not on Mars from a woman, and I can't even find any. It's always some dude. It's some dude sitting around thinking up dumb stuff to do and then going and doing it. It's usually involves some kind of money. Gracie is way too quiet on the podcast. She has a lot to say, but she just is shy. She doesn't like to say too much, Most of the Chinese and Golden Corral buffets are open up and running. James Morrell. The Golden Corrals here are running, and I only know that because they're running commercials constantly about how you can come in and eat there on Thanksgiving. So I know that they are open here, the Golden Corral. There's one in town. So it's going to be open at least for Thanksgiving, and great. I mean, if you want a buffet on Thanksgiving, you don't have to cook anything. You get all this food. Pretty much awesome. Stan Dodge, podcasting your ear hole. You only have to get my podcasting your ear hole. You don't have to use your other holes. And that way you don't have to look at me. And so I don't have to get the letters about, hey, why don't you put a bag on your head kind of thing. So pretty awesome. Can't wait to leave the stupid planet. I know, but we can't because there's always idiots that are stopping us. They're taking up all of our resources from all their dumb, stupid things that they do. And so we're stuck. We're stuck. Elon Musk can send a car to Mars, but we can't go, which they did. But we can't go because of dumb people sitting around in their cinder block basements thinking of things to do. Is the podcast interactive like Roller Wiener Monday ? Kind of. If you send a question, it will be answered on the next podcast. So that's about as good as we can do with a podcast. No live podcasting yet. That's interesting. I wonder if you could do that somewhere. What about those nasty chocolate volcanoes at the Golden Corral? Look, I may have eaten at a Golden Corral a few times in my life. And I'll tell you this, and this is the law, even though I'm not an attorney. Okay, let's see where this thing go. All right, I may not be an attorney, but I'll tell you this much about the law. Okay, they can't stop you from putting that chocolate on whatever you want. if you've paid for the buffet. There's nothing they can do about it. So you can put it on meat, one of their steaks. You can put on macaroni and cheese. You can put on mashed potatoes. They can't stop you. They got to let you eat it. Think about that the next time you go in there. They've got to let you do it. That's right. I was kind of hoping Vivid would thin the herd. Bummer. Only a hoax. Vivid. Does anybody else notice if you have a light trailer like 15,000 pounds, it feels slower than when you're pulling a 40,000 pound? I notice that almost weekly. Really? I don't ever get any heavy ones, so no, I don't know. 20 would be the most I get. I did hear from somebody that the faster you go, the straighter the trailer is. So sometimes you listen to this show. That's pretty interesting. Make reservations. Yes, that's right. They did say you can make reservations there at the Golden Corral as well. So is it going to be busy where you need a reservation? Maybe. The What's a Place Cracker Barrel always has people waiting outside, so maybe. Joan Harper sent an email. All right. Well, thank you. I'll check that out. Do you have a P.O. box? Where do we send your free roller wieners? I prefer to get my roller wieners in person. So when I see you, I'll put my hand out and you can put it directly in my hand. That's the better way to do it. We'll be at the truck show in March in Louisville, so we can do it there. Truck wings are the best part of the bird. Change my mind. Turkey wings. Turkey wings, right? The wife would like that. Wings, legs also, and for all that stuff. I'm not a big turkey fan, so probably won't even have that this week. Just not a fan. I will tell you, if you wanted a Meyer in Lafayette, hundreds of them, piled high, but you're going to have to get them today if you expect it to be thawed out in time. I remember, waking up, Mom would get up at 4:35. She'd be out cooking in this big cooker and all that stuff. So that stuff used to happen, absolutely, but not anymore. Not anymore. Let's see, where did this go? Oh, okay. Yeah. So this woman, let me see, get her name here because she is an official, Sharice Davids. She's a Democrat from Kansas. Okay, so she is going to have an official federal board for women to join trucking. And this is a quote from her. Hey, it's a real profession, unquote. Did you know trucking is a profession? I love that. Trucking can be actual profession. It's a real profession. That's a quote from her. So she wants to convene a federal board to get more women into trucking. And she has been in office since 2019. Democrat, Kansas. Sharice Davids. It's a real profession. I thought, wow, this is really a profession that I'm into here. I don't like that it's only one people. She should try to get people, not just one person. Mars is on the moon. Dark Horse. It'll be closer to get to. Are they going to have the truck show in Louisville? As of last week, I checked, and so far the Louisville truck show in end of March is a go. Tickets will be available next month, and if you get them before March 1st, they're free. So I will have a link and the stuff for all that. All you got to do is order them. They'll send them to your house, no charge. So even if you don't go, it hasn't cost you anything. Be sure to get tickets to the truck show in Louisville. It's the biggest truck show in the whole country. I'll be there walking around. Many people will be there, usually 80,000 people. Should be a lot of fun. I don't know what the Kentucky laws are about that many people inside too, or what they're going to do at that time. So that's the other problem. Golden Corral's my favorite restaurant. I like it. One price, eat all you want. Yeah, getting your money's worth out of that place. I think that's where chocolate covered bacon came from. Maybe. You can put it on bacon there. You can put it on anything you want. They can't stop you from having it. That's the thing. Slap that steak under there and let it get all chocolatey. They can't do anything about it. Hey, I'm like, I paid my $6. I'll do whatever I want. Going to Aldi's and getting glazed honey and ham. All right. Having dinner with my favorite guy on the planet. Me. That's the way to do it. Don't forget your quarter. Or you don't get a cart. Don't eat crackers at the manhole. Very uncomfortable while sleeping. Pens, yes. A lot of things there are uncomfortable. Don't sleep at the manhole either. Did she view us as end users too? She didn't say anything about end users. I thought it was pretty interesting. It's as if somebody talked to her about it. She's like, you know what, that could be a profession. And the person's like, yeah, maybe. And that is a quote from her. It's a real profession. So she is going to convene or wants a board, a federal board, on getting more women into trucking. And as we see from the podcast, that the women aren't really the reason we're not on Mars. Women, don't go into trucking in large numbers either. That's currently 7% of drivers are women. 7%, so they said, even though it's a real profession. So it's a real profession, she says. That's really something. Hey, you know what? These people might actually have a profession. And the other person, her assistant, was like, they're writing it down. Turkeys gobble. They write that down. I fry my turkey only takes 3 minutes per pound. Quick and easy. That's a good slogan for the manhole. It's only 3 minutes a pound here. Don't do that at a truck stop. It'd be like 100. That'd be 1,200 minutes for some places. Are women allowed at the manhole? They're allowed, but there are not that many there. You don't really see women coming in there. You know, of course, we can't discriminate against anybody. Everybody's allowed at the manhole. It's usually men, though. A lot of leather there, too. A lot of men. I guess they just like wearing leather vests. But, of course, everybody's welcome at the manhole. Open on the weekends, closed Monday for cleaning. So that's how we do it. That's how we do it at the manhole. Sometimes maybe they'll sponsor the podcast. I think that would be pretty good for them to do. You can't stop the flow of chocolate. It will make a war. Look, that thing, it's always on. That's some of the highest quality chocolate, too. It's $6 or whatever. My wife has a Class A and she refuses to use it. Why would she, let me ask you this. Why would she get a license and then not use it? I mean, she had to take the trouble to go get it. It's not like you just get handed it. So why would she get it and then what happened? Did you tell her not to use it? Is she just not use it? Why does somebody go to the time to get a license and then say, I'm not going to use it? Although there are many, hundreds of thousands of people in the United States that have an active license that they don't use. I'm just curious of why she would get it and just not use it. Kilt Rooster Travel, yeah, if we're good tippers. The best tippers get the best seats there. What's the pricing on turkeys? It was 34 cents a pound. Oh, Selena. All right. So because I saw the big sign there, 34. And I don't actually know if that's a good price because I don't buy turkey. They're young and juicy, which I thought was funny. I did not name them. Okay, that's stuck on every turkey. I'm like, wow, who would name them that? Either way, apparently they're young and juicy, and they're 34 cents a pound. Is that a good price? Not sure. John, the Wiener game is at 2. The official Wiener game is at 2. They do play them around the clock. Industrial cleaning, yeah. It's Serve Pro like it never happened. That's who's in there. The manhole downtown and go around back. Entrance in the rear. George Wilson, there was a time when I had to improvise. I wanted manicotti and compromise. I wanted a woman. I compromised. I used my imagination. That's the best way. Dale W. Sleep apnea, Phillips recall. What is everyone doing while Phillips has a problem? I saw that, and they actually asked the government to let people get an exemption. And the government is like considering it. Because if you have one of these sleep apnea things that are on recall, you're not supposed to use it. That was in the thing. So, but you have to use it to maintain your license. But the manufacturer itself is saying, hey, this thing has got problems. Don't use it. And so drivers that were using this specific one are like, well, what are we supposed to do? Some of us are on the road. It's not like we can just stop by the Phillips sleep apnea place all the time and do this. And the government is like, yeah, we ought to do something about that. And that's as far as that went. So that should have immediately said, okay, you're exempt they should have put like a 120-day exemption and figured something out. They didn't do anything. They didn't. So people are like, stupid government. Was free from Werner Veterans Program. She doesn't want to be gone all the time. Oh, okay. All right. I just don't know why you would get it otherwise, but I guess she could get a local job. All right. If it's free, then she can always, as long as she will get a physical, she can maintain it. Yeah. The Wiener game is at 2:28. When is the after game show going to happen? Right after. Michael Swift, dude, leather and wool, way to go. Leather stops the wind, wool keeps you warm. That's one reason people wear it there. It's usually warm in there, so that isn't the problem. I don't really care for turkey, so tomorrow I'm starting marinating. 1 pound of beef ribs tomorrow. Should be tender on turkey day. Wow. So several day marinade on that? That would be, now that's something that we could get started from Thanksgiving here. Get some new thing going on. Roger Penske, leave it to Chuck in politics to say something incredibly stupid. Well, I think this is somebody in politics that has no idea what they're talking about. They're going to form a task force, a board, to get women into trucking. They really don't even know what they're talking about. They're just like, hey, this is a good idea. Because she goes on and on about a shortage and logistics, blah, blah. And then she's like, it's a real profession. We should get women into it. But she doesn't really know anything about it. I'd rather some woman in politics that knows something about it at least start some kind of board. Not this person. She's just doing it to put her name out there, which it worked. She got her name out there. Now she has worldwide exposure through me here through 38 countries now. So Read that full name. Yeah, Selena. I think it was Selena. It's already gone up the thing there, so you know. It's exactly what it said. We have to keep it nice for YouTube here. She tried getting a local job, but no one hired without 1 year experience. Okay, well, I mean, there you can, as I see here, you can get a local job. Depends where you go. Look, even ABF is hiring people without experience, so it just depends. Yellow put a thing out. There are places. Depends, of course, if you live in East Armpit, that's a problem too. But okay, fair enough. It's not a manhole. Those holes in the ground that lead to the sewers. No. It's sometimes considered a sewer, but no, it's a manhole. It's a club. We dance and we got songs, you know, absolutely. Cover bands. I accidentally walked into Fluid, I guess the term, joint in Palm Springs. There are definitely women there. Yeah, look, you can, a sexually fluid place. Look, women are allowed at the club too. Absolutely. Trump loves stupid. He's out of office currently. The thing is, right now with this, even the CPAP thing, this is a big deal. The government sitting on it. It shouldn't be. Once that thing was recalled, it wasn't just a recall like get it fixed. The manufacturer and the recall was don't use it. Stop using it because it was causing cancer and stuff. And they said stop using it. That's a problem because drivers that are on this from their doctor have to use it for a certain period of time each week or they don't drive. So they should have immediately said, okay, if you were using this one for, you know, however many months or whatever, you don't have to use one until we can figure something out and you can get to a doctor to change it or whatever you need to do. Not just, well, I guess we ought to think about something because now there are drivers that are having a real problem. This was a big deal that they should have fixed immediately for drivers. It puts drivers' whole career, not their career, I guess, but their current paycheck in jeopardy. Because companies are like, well, we can't let you drive if you don't have the number of hours on the CPAP, but yet the CPAP they have, they're being told not to use. And if they use it, they could get cancer. It's a real problem. Another one of these dumb trucker, government versus trucker things that they didn't fix. Western Express hires anyone, but if you want a local job, they won't. Western Express doesn't have that many local opportunities. There are local jobs. Joan Harper, you mean in Lafayette? Yeah, go downtown. And the entrance is in the rear of the manhole, of course. That's the only way to get in. There's no front entrance at the manhole because of zoning, I assume. And, in downtown, they may be franchising. You may want to check for one near you. I'm not sure how that works. Maybe it could be an opportunity in it, like an Entrepreneur magazine that may be in the back there where franchising opportunities are available near you. But I don't know if there's anywhere else because I'm here. So, but this is the place on the weekends. I was sad that I had to work and didn't get to go down there this weekend. But when young people call off, they got to call somebody in. Really, they call me because I say, I'll work on the weekends if you have something at night for me to do. So that's actually why they called me. Not because they like me or don't like me. Just they're like, oh, this guy will come in, so let's give him a call. So, that's the only reason they do it. Let's see here. So, but I'm going to have to head out anyways to go to that very job. Did you know that that's me right there? And if you wear it, you should make it a parrot. And I should actually get a slide for myself, which I don't have, for the podcast, but I don't have one. Cassius King Trucking was here today, and I appreciate that. Go check him out, right? He does a lot on his channel, and there's always something going on over there. I don't know if you knew this. I'm not an attorney, so pretty interesting. Some people may not have known that. Let's see. Golden Chicken Holler. What am I doing, Golden? It would help if I could write. James Morrow was here first day. Chicken Holler was here first the other day. And I will tell you this about the live show. So I will come back Thursday, but I don't know what time will be on yet. Because if I have to wait Wednesday night, sometimes I'm home earlier. I've waited there 3 or 4 hours for a trailer. They've had problems getting empty, so I never know. So I think it's just going to have to be a pop-up show, and I don't want to interrupt people's Thanksgiving, so it won't go too long that day, but we'll pop in and say hello to everybody. So that'll work out. Yeah, we're in Stan Dodge. We're doing it. We're rolling them. They called off to go to the manhole. Yes, exactly. Thank you, John, for being here. I appreciate it. Joan Harper was here. I appreciate it. I'll check out your email there. John M. Thanks for being here. Truckers Coach Tire Expert was here. The Truckers Coach has a lot of experts on the show today, which I'm sure he appreciates. He needs that group around him. So that's good. That'll be pretty helpful. Roger Penske was here today. Thank you for being here. John Zablak, thanks for the cabbage idea there. The wife will probably be on that immediately. Believe me, there's a lot of that going on here. Wife from Polish family, so we get all that kind of Eastern European stuff here. Smells the house up beautifully. Love it. Dark Worsel was here. Joe, thank you for being here today. Kelly Patterson was here, and that actually sounds great. And Kelly has another channel, right, which I should put a slide up. 18-Wheel Chef, and I posted his video on the Facebook page. So link to it. Please go check it out. I would appreciate it. Let's see. Truckers Coach and things like that is also here. Dale W. is here. Thanks for being here. And I agree with you about the CPAP. Believe me, the government is sitting on their hands. It should have immediately been fixed because I don't know what you do. I really don't. I would talk to your medical officer at a company. I don't know what to do. Selena and other people were here today. Kelter Travel, thanks for being here. Let's see, where am I going to go? Oh, Acceleration Rules was here today, right? Chris 76 was here today. And I'm going up. Luke 1234, thank you for being here. Tommy Cash, for people that can't be here Thursday or whatever, happy Thanksgiving this week. I hope you enjoy it and get some time off if you want it. If not, hey, week holiday sometimes like that, Wednesday to Monday, if they give me coast to coast or something, that's not a bad time to do it too. If you're out there, I mean, scales will probably be closed, light traffic, relatively light traffic. That might not be bad. Donkey Bite was here today. Flat Highway, thank you for being here. And I'm going to head on out of here before they start griping at me because I will get in trouble if I don't show up on time, of course. We'll be back with more videos. Podcast Tuesday, Friday. Live show Thursday at some point. I don't know what time, so I'm sorry about that because I just can't promise it and then not be here for some reason. So, but it will just be a pop-up, and